Chapter 145. Yang Tian left. There were over 2,000 kilometers between Jiangbei and the Changbai Mountain in the northeast. Yi Chen left a spiritual energy seed on him. As soon as Yang Tian tried to take a car or a plane, Yi Chen would sense that he was speeding up. It proved that he did not pass the assessment. Secondly, Yi Chen would be able to sense it in time if Yang Tian's life was in danger. He would not care about the rest. The journey of over 4,000 kilometers was not just a journey, but a journey to train one's heart. It required determination, Dao heart, determination, and even loneliness. Any powerhouse would definitely have those qualities. It was just like the pilgrimage to the West. The world of mortals would train one's heart, starve one's skin, and tire one's mind. Yi Chen stayed at home for the next few days. Compared to the shock in the outside world, he did not care at all. All he wanted to do was spend time with his daughter. At the same time, he secretly ordered Lin Tai to look for news about Beijing. At the Martial Alliance headquarters, Elder Feng Kuahai's face was filled with shock as he watched the scene on the computer screen. Even Northern Devil Jiang lost. How is that possible? He knew about Northern Devil Jiang's ability. He was no match for him at all, but he was defeated by Mad Southern Yi. Did that not mean that it would be a piece of cake for Mad Southern Yi to kill him on the Surge River back then? A young man in the Martial Alliance executive uniform said respectfully, "Master, the other elders said that this Mad Southern Yi is a talent and must be used by the Martial Alliance. That's why they want to recruit him." Also, he could not go on as he spoke to this point. Also what? Feng Kuahai's expression was grim. The young man bit the bullet and said, "The other elders want Mad Southern Yi to be the Martial Alliance elder." A loud thud came before he was done speaking. The computer before him shattered. The young man knelt onto the ground immediately, not daring to say another word. Mad Southern Yi killed my junior brother. I'll never forgive him for that. I can't believe they want him to be the Martial Alliance elder. That's just wishful thinking. Feng Kuahai laughed out of rage. His face was ferocious. Most importantly, as soon as Mad Southern Yi joined the Martial Alliance, he might be the chief of the Martial Alliance in the competition a year later. Meanwhile, the chief of the Martial Alliance was a legend. Feng Kuahai's expression changed a few times before he asked coldly, "Where is that lunatic now?" The unparalleled sword was chased by 2 grandmasters from our Martial Alliance that day. He was rescued by an old Taoist priest when he was severely injured. Later on, I heard that he carried a coffin into Mount Wangu and his whereabouts were unknown. The young man was sweating profusely. Feng Kuahai's face twitched slightly and fear filled his eyes. This guy is lawless. He's quite similar to Mad Southern Yi. It's fine if he doesn't attack, but once he does, he'll do it with lightning speed. Continue searching. Even if you have to dig 3 feet into the ground, you have to find him. At the same time, send someone to spread the news that Mad Southern Yi is also a swordsman. Moreover, he wants to challenge a swordsman. Feng Kuahai smirked as he spoke to this point. Mad Southern Yi, I'm looking forward to seeing how desperate you'll be when that lunatic finds you. Oh yeah, wasn't Western Overlord Lu's sworn brother, Fan Yao, killed by Mad Southern Yi? Send someone to inform him. At the same time, try to contact Northern Devil Jiang. I believe the 2 of them will fight Mad Southern Yi together. It'll be best if we lure the one in the east out. No matter how powerful Mad Southern Yi is, he won't be able to withstand the rage of the 3 masters. Yes. The next day, Meng Meng kept asking to go out to play after breakfast. Yi Chen could only bring her out. When the father and daughter passed by a dessert shop in the west of the city, they happened to bump into 2 people. They were Su Yuwei and Guosheng. At that moment, Su Yuwei had a cold expression on her face, as if someone owed her money. Meanwhile, Guosheng was following behind her with many bags. Su Yuwei's face turned grim as soon as she saw the father and daughter. "Yi Chen, why are you guys here?" "Daddy brought me here to buy cakes," the little girl said angrily while pouting her little mouth. She shrunk into Yi Chen's embrace. She still remembered that her daddy had slapped her, but because she had eaten the snacks that Su Yue had bought. Meng Meng, do you like cakes? The coldness on Su Yue's face eased up a lot. Gentleness flashed through her eyes when she looked at the little girl. The little girl was a little hesitant. She lifted her head to look at Yi Chen and said, "Daddy, should I answer her or shouldn't I?" She was afraid that her daddy would be mad again. Silly girl. Would you have asked Daddy to bring you here if you didn't like cakes? Yi Chen rubbed her hair, not knowing whether to laugh or to cry. What they did not notice was that disbelief flashed through Guoxing's eyes behind Su Yue when he heard Yi Chen and Meng Meng's names. Subsequently, he took a good look at the father and daughter. "Auntie will buy you some, okay?" Su Yue took a box of cakes from Guoxing and passed it to the little girl while smiling. The little girl scoffed, "I don't want your cakes. Daddy will buy them for me. I'm rich." Su Yue was slightly stunned. Sadness flashed through her eyes, but she could only give up. Yi Chen did not even look at her. He walked to the counter with the little girl and bought 2 boxes of cakes for her. The little girl was hopping when she came out with the cake. She was very happy. When Yi Chen was going to bring her home, Su Yue, who was guarding at the door, suddenly asked, "Yi Chen, have you heard of Mad Southern Yi?" When she heard that Mad Southern Yi had appeared in Jiangbei and was fighting Northern Devil Jiang, she urged Guoxing to go there. However, the battle had ended when they arrived. Meanwhile, Mad Southern Yi and Northern Devil Jiang were nowhere to be seen. She was shocked and disappointed. She was shocked that Mad Southern Yi had defeated the Jiangbei No. 1, Northern Devil Jiang. He had even almost killed him. She was disappointed that the battle had ended too soon. She had come here for nothing, and she had completely lost contact with Mad Southern Yi. "I've never heard of him." Yi Chen stopped walking. He subsequently shook his head and ignored her. Su Yue was rather disappointed. She waved her hand impatiently. "You're from Tiannan too, but you've never heard of the legend of Tiannan. Forget it. Go. It's scary to be ignorant. People like you are destined to be like this for the rest of your life." Yi Chen did not say anything else. He carried his daughter and rushed home. Su Yue watched as he left. Su Yue had mixed emotions. "Yi Chen, oh Yi Chen, how great would it be if you were Mad Southern Yi? If that's the case, there might be hope for my sister to come out." "Haha, but is it possible?" Su Yue shook her head. She was shocked by her own thought. This piece of trash has never even heard of Mad Southern Yi. How could it be him? Compared to Mad Southern Yi, one is a bug while the other is a real dragon. Guoxing, who had been quiet, asked half-heartedly, "Ms. Su, are those two the young mistress husband and daughter?" "Why are you asking that, Guoxing?" Su Yue's expression turned cold. "I'm warning you. Don't touch the father and daughter. I'll skin you alive if they lose even a strand of hair." "No, Ms. Su, you're overthinking. How would I dare to do that?" Guoxing could not stop shaking his head, but there was killing intent in his eyes. Chapter 146. It was late at night and everything was silent. In the security office of Jinyang District, the security guard, Master Wang, was listening to tunes in a relaxed manner with his reading glasses on. He would hum a little every now and then as a way to relieve his loneliness and pass the time. Suddenly, a silhouette flashed past his eyes at high speed. Master Wang was slightly stunned. He got up and looked outside immediately, but he did not see anything. Eventually, he returned to the security office after mumbling something. What he had no idea was that a silhouette had walked into the district without anyone noticing. It was staring at the locked door of a building. The silhouette leaped directly to the 3rd floor of the building. Subsequently, he walked toward a house on the 3rd floor. Through the window, he saw that there was no light in the house. Clearly, the person had fallen asleep. The silhouette smirked in disdain as intense killing intent exploded on his face. Second young master was right to be worried. "You piece of trash are really alive. But so what? 5 years ago, second young master merely hired a few ordinary people to fight you. Now that you've met me, you won't be so lucky. Not only will you die, your daughter will die, your entire family will die. A strand of hair appeared in his hand. He inserted it into the door lock, and as a soft sound was heard, the door lock was opened. The silhouette then leaped in. It was clean and agile, not making any sound at all. For some reason, he had a bad feeling about this. It was too dark in the house. The street lights outside were on, but he could not even see his fingers in the house. He took a step forward by instinct. Slap! That step seemed to have triggered a mechanism as the lights in the living room lit up. Under the illumination of the light, a face was revealed. It was Guo Xing. However, his body froze at that moment as he stared deadly at the silhouette on the sofa. There was a young man sitting there. The young man looked at him wryly as if he was not surprised by his arrival at all. Who else could it be but Yi Chen? At that moment, Guo Xing had goosebumps all over his body. This brat isn't asleep? You're a little late. Yi Chen glanced at the clock hanging on the wall and pointed at the teacup and pack of cigarettes on the table. I drank 2 cups of hot tea and smoked 5 cigarettes to wait for you. Guo Xing slowly suppressed the panic in his heart and sneered. You don't seem to be surprised by my arrival at all? Although he said that, he kept looking around from the corner of his eyes to see if there were any other people or if there were any police officers around. Surprised about what? Yi Chen lit another cigarette and said coldly, To kill me and to answer to the master behind you, you must come. As soon as he said that, the unease in Guo Xing's heart grew stronger. Since you knew I was coming to kill you, why didn't you run? Instead, he waited for me? Could it be that you think I can't kill trash like you? I'm right here. As for whether or not you can kill me, that will depend on your ability. Yi Chen took a sip of tea and did not mind at all. Courting death. The killing intent in Guo Xing's eyes skyrocketed. He appeared before Yi Chen in a flash and slammed his palm out. In his opinion, Yi Chen's head would explode like a watermelon if he were to hit him with his palm. However, the next moment, the expression on his face instantly froze. He realized that he could not move his hand when it was less than 10 centimeters away from Yi Chen's head. Not only could he not move his hands, but he could not even move his entire body. It was as if he had been immobilized. Guo Xing's eyes were wide open and his face was full of fear. You can't be that trash. He wouldn't have such terrifying strength. Who are you? His meridian opening cultivation base was completely suppressed by his opponent, and he was unable to resist at all. I've met an expert. Moreover, he was an expert among experts. At this moment, he finally understood why he felt so uneasy before. I'm Yi Chen, and Yi Chen is me. Yi Chen blew a smoke ring at him as he spoke to this point. Of course, I forgot to tell you that they call me Mad Southern Yi. Buzz. Guo Xing's scalp went numb as he cried out involuntarily, What? You're Mad Southern Yi? Mad Southern Yi. He could not be more familiar with that name. First, he killed Yuan Bupo. Subsequently, he came to Jiangbei in an overbearing manner and destroyed the Song family. He even beat the Jiangbei No. 1, Northern Devil Jiang, like a dog. Even the second young master wanted to recruit such a person. However, he was standing right before him now. Moreover, he was that trash from 5 years ago. He dared to attack a martial Dao master. Shock, fear, disbelief. Guo Xing's heart sank completely as he thought to this point. He said while pretending to be calm, Yi Chen, since you're so powerful, why don't you surrender to my Su family and the second young master? As long as you let me go, I'll definitely put in a good word for you to the second young master when I get back. I believe. Does he deserve it? Yi Chen interrupted him before he was done speaking. I remember what Su Tao did to my family back then. I'll meet him soon. Yi Chen chuckled and lifted his eyes to look at Guo Xing. Mockery filled his eyes. But before that, I'd like to give him a present. What are you trying to do? Guo Xing panicked. Don't kill me, Yi Chen. As long as you don't kill me, I'll tell you everything. I can even surrender to you and be your dog. Please don't kill me, don't worry. I won't kill you. Yi Chen pressed his palm on his head and performed the demonic will doppelganger tactic. He said coldly, Now, look into my eyes. Guo Xing looked over by instinct. He saw a black gleam flash through Yi Chen's eyes like a boundless black hole. It was deep and evil gradually. His entire body trembled violently, and he called out in a very stupefied manner, Master! Who sent you here? Yi Chen asked. Guo Xing's expression froze. It's the second young master of the Su family, Su Tao. Does he know that I'm still alive? No, the second young master sent me here to see how long it will take for your daughter to die. Yi Chen asked again, What's Su Yue's purpose in coming to Tianan? Does she know that you're here to kill me? The second young mistress came to Tianan to recruit you and use your power to save the first young mistress. She doesn't know that I'm here to kill you. She even warned me not to touch you guys. The coldness on Yi Chen's face eased a little. He asked again, Where did you guys hide Yuhan? I don't know. Only the second young master knows about this. He killed everyone who was involved, Guo Xing said. Why did Su Tao hide Yuhan? Because a big shot has his eyes on the second young mistress. To please him, the second young master has decided to marry the second young mistress to that big shot. Bang! The teacup in Yi Chen's hand shattered. Killing intent filled his face. Who's that big shot? I don't know. I've never seen him before. I only know that he has an agent who has been contacting the second young master. What's the agent's name? I don't know. I only know that his surname is Bai. Yi Chen asked many more questions, but he was not satisfied with the answers he got. Realizing that he could not get anything out of him, he sat down again and said to Guo Xing while looking at him, Go back to Su Yue and pretend that nothing happened. You didn't come tonight. You know what to answer when you get back to the Su family. Try to find out where Yuhan is being kept. Also, try to find out who that big shot and his agent are. Let me know if there's any news. Yes, sir. Guo Xing nodded and left without saying a word. Yi Chen watched him leave and mumbled, Su Tao, enjoy your last moments. It'll be your death day once I find out where Yuhan is. At that moment, his phone rang. It was Gu Yingying. The first thing she said was, Master Yi, bad news. Something terrible has happened. Chapter 147. Hearing Gu Yingying's panicked voice, Yi Chen said in his deep voice, Slow down. What happened? I just received news that the three martial Dao masters, Western Overlord Lu, Northern Devil Jiang, and Eastern Superior Ning, have officially applied to the Martial Alliance to challenge you. The Martial Alliance has agreed to it. Gu Yingying was so nervous that she could not even speak properly. This matter was simply too shocking. She thought Yi Chen would become nervous after hearing that. Never had she thought that Yi Chen would merely give a short response. I got it. Master Yi, what should we do now? Gu Yingying almost choked to death as she did not expect him to react that way. Yi Chen smiled calmly. Don't worry. Since they're seeking death, I can only fulfill their wish. What? Gu Yingying exclaimed by instinct. She thought she heard it wrong. Yi Chen, can you calm down? I know you're powerful, but there are three masters this time. Perhaps she was too excited. She called Yi Chen's name directly. Just when Yi Chen was going to speak, he suddenly heard old Master Gu's voice coming from the phone. Master Yi, can you come over? Sure, I'll be right there. Yi Chen hung up the phone and peeped into the room. He had cast the hypnosis tactic on his parents and daughter. They were breathing evenly at the moment, and they did not notice anything that was happening outside at all. After ordering the Patriarch of Hell to take care of his parents, he closed the door and rushed to the Gu residence. Half an hour later, Yi Chen arrived at the Gu residence. He realized that apart from Old Master Gu and Gu Yingying, there was a middle-aged man in military uniform sitting on the couch. He looked determined, and his features looked similar to the old master. It was the rank of senior colonel. In the military, this position was either the rank of a division commander or a deputy commander. The old master seemed to have noticed Yi Chen's doubt, so he introduced, "Master Yi, this is my second son, Gu Junwei. He's currently working in the Southeast military." Gu Junwei sat there without moving. He just nodded slightly as a sign of respect, neither cold nor warm. Yi Chen did not mind. He looked at the old master after sitting down and said, "I wonder why you're looking for me, old master? Master Yi, I believe you know that Northern Devil Jiang, Eastern Superior Ning, and Western Overlord Lu are working together to fight you. What do you think?" the old master said in his deep voice. Yi Chen frowned slightly. "So what if the world is my enemy?" The smile on Grandpa Xing's face froze. Clearly, he did not expect him to say such a thing. Gu Junwei, who was standing aside, stared directly at Yi Chen with a threatening gaze. "Master Yi, I'm warning you not to accept their challenge. If you insist on accepting it, I hope that you won't do it in the name of the Gu family. Because my Gu clan cannot afford to wade into these muddy waters, and even more so, cannot bear the wrath of the three great grandmasters." Yi Chen squinted slightly. He finally understood why Gu Junwei would rush back in the middle of the night. To put it bluntly, Gu Junwei did not trust him, so he wanted to draw a line between them. He couldn't help but sneak a glance at Old Man Gu in front of him, only to see an awkward expression on Old Man Gu's face, as if he wanted to say something but was hesitant. "So, the reason why you guys came to me today is to draw a line between us?" Yi Chen said calmly. The old master moved his lips. Just when he was going to speak, Gu Junwei said in all seriousness, "You can think of it that way. I understand now. I'll accept this battle. Please help me tell the Gu family that from now on, the Gu family has nothing to do with me, Yi Chen." Yi Chen nodded and got up to walk to the door. Old Master Gu and Gu Yingying's expressions changed. They wanted to chase after him by instinct, but Gu Junwei said, "Dad, Yingying, please sit down." The old master sighed and turned his head to look at him helplessly. "Second son, didn't you cross the line earlier? This concerns the life and death of our family. So what if I did cross the line?" Gu Junwei shook his head and said while looking at the direction where Yi Chen left, "This Master Yi killed you on Bupo and defeated Northern Devil Jiang. I can't deny that he's a genius, but he fought alone after all. He'll definitely lose if he encounters the three masters together. Didn't Han Qinhu fight 3 people on his own back then? Who knows, Master Yi might be the next Han Qinhu." The old master sighed softly. Gu Junwei looked serious when he mentioned Han Qinhu. There was a faint excitement in his eyes. "But there's only one Commander Han in the entire China. Dad, you'll regret this." Gu Yingying felt guilty for Yi Chen. She could not help but retort as she stomped her feet. At the Beijing military headquarters, an old man in traditional attire hung up the phone. Shock and anger flashed through his face. Subsequently, he turned around and said to the young man in a suit next to him, "Xiao Tian, take my appointment letter and go to Tiannan. Xiao Tian, take my letter of appointment and make a trip to Tiannan personally. You must get that young man with the surname Yi to join my Divine Arms Battalion. If the 3 grandmasters insist on making a move, kill him without mercy. If one were to look closer, they would notice a document before him. There were 3 big words on it. Firearms Division's Chief Instructor." "Chief, should we kill all 3 of them?" The young man in the suit rubbed his shiny bald head. "That's right." The old man in traditional attire looked serious. "The Martial Alliance has become arrogant these years. It's time to intimidate them with brutal methods." "But Chief, I don't know how to kill." The young man in the suit looked troubled. Subsequently, he smiled in an honest manner. Why don't I go to the Martial Alliance's headquarters directly and fight Sikong Ao? He'll surrender after I beat him to the ground. I'm afraid you're not his match. The old man in traditional attire shook his head. Just when he was going to say something, a man in military uniform walked in. He whispered something to the old man. Forget it, forget it. You don't have to go. The young man with the surname Yi has accepted the challenge. The old man in traditional attire fell into silence for a few seconds. He was rather disappointed and tossed the surname Yi on the table into the trash can as he spoke. Then, he's dead, the young man in the suit said while shaking his head. At the same time, the martial Dao world in China that had just calmed down was stirred again. What? The three masters are fighting Mad Southern Yi together? That's right. Mad Southern Yi destroyed the Song family in Jiangbei and killed Western Overlord Lu's sworn brother, Fan Yao. Subsequently, he killed Northern Devil Zhang's father-in-law, Song Yi, right in front of him. Tisk, Mad Southern Yi is too ruthless. Why does he kill wherever he goes? First, he killed Yuan Bupo's two disciples. Now, he killed Western Overlord Lu's sworn brother and Northern Devil Zhang's father-in-law. He should King change his name to Killer God Yi or Devil Yi. Most importantly, Mad Southern Yi has accepted the challenge. Is he crazy? Those are three martial Dao masters. Does he really think he has the ability to fight the three of them on his own just because he killed Yuan Bupo and defeated Northern Devil Jiang? He's crazy. Mad Southern, Mad Southern. If he wasn't crazy, would he still be called Mad Southern? Unfortunately, Mad Southern will disappear in the river of time with Southern Killer after this battle. Theoretically, Mad Southern Yi can only defeat Western Overlord Lu and Northern Devil Jiang. What does that have to do with Eastern Superior Ning? That's because he's arrogant. Moreover, I'm afraid Mad Southern Ye's rise has threatened them. That's why they joined forces to challenge him. I'm looking forward to the time and location of their battle now. I missed it the last time. I can't miss it this time. Just when countless people were shocked, Su Yuwei, who was at the Hilton Hotel in Lin City, was excited. Mad Southern Yi, Su Yuwei was right about you. You're lonely again, aren't you? I can't believe you're fighting three of them on your own this time. That alone makes you worthy of my attention. I'll find you no matter what this time. I'd like to see exactly what you look like. Su Yuwei was so excited that she was jumping around on the bed. She made a decision all of a sudden after calming down. Should I get that piece of trash, Yi Chen, to go with me? I can show that piece of trash what it means to be powerful. If that's the case, he might give up on my sister. Chapter 148. After returning home that night, Yi Chen began cultivating after swallowing a heavenly spirit pill. Ever since he broke through to mastery stage spirit assembly in the Hmong village, his cultivation base could not improve significantly. The main reason was the lack of spiritual energy. The Dantian was a cultivator's heavenly gate to store qi. It was just like a water tank. As one's cultivation base broke through, the water tank would grow. One would need more water to fill the tank. I'll have to prepare for foundation building when I get to peak stage spirit assembly. Foundation building is to build a foundation for my future cultivation. However, I'll need a geographical vein. The higher the grade of the geographical vein, the higher the level of foundation building. Yi Chen sat with his legs crossed as his eyes flickered. In the cultivation world, foundation building is divided into Disha foundation building, Heaven Spirit foundation building, and Divine Grade foundation building. Among them, Divine Grade foundation building is also known as the 9 Transformation Dao Foundation. It's 1 in a million years. I was at Heaven Spirit foundation building before, and I got a Heaven Spirit geographical vein by chance. Now that I'm at foundation building, where can I find a Heaven Spirit geographical vein? Forget it. I'll take it one step at a time. After shaking his head, Yi Chen began refining the heavenly spirit pill in his body and officially entered cultivation mode. It was a quiet night. The next morning, Lin Tai drove to the entrance of the district early in the morning. He was the first to speak after Yi Chen arrived. "My lord, did you really agree to fight the three masters?" "That's right, but how did you find out?" Yi Chen glanced at him and said calmly. Lin Tai forced a smile. "I had no idea at first, but I heard that all the wealthy families in Tianan have cut ties with you before the sun rose today. I only found out about it after asking around." "All the wealthy families in Tianan have cut ties with me?" Yi Chen frowned slightly and subsequently smiled. It seemed like these people did not have high hopes for him. Lin Tai's face was grim. "They promised to invest in your company, but now they're going back on their words. I called them, but they didn't pick up." A bunch of traitors. Then, why didn't you betray me?" Yi Chen looked at him wryly. In reality, he was not surprised by their reaction at all. The only thing that surprised him was that Lin Tai came to tell him about it. Plop! Lin Tai's expression changed when he heard that. He knelt hard on the ground. "Although I, Lin Tai, am not a good person, at least I know how to repay favors. My lord has saved my life before. How can I be ungrateful?" Back at the auspicious manor, Song Chao had disguised himself as a chef to take revenge. If Yi Chen had not intervened at the critical moment, the grass on Lin Tai's grave would have been 3 meters tall. "You're not bad." Yi Chen patted his shoulder lightly and said while smiling, "Don't worry. You'll be proud of your decision. As for those traitors, I guarantee that they'll kneel before me and beg for mercy. Your subordinate swears to follow the High Lord until death." Lin Tai clasped his fists in all seriousness and said, "Oh yeah, my lord, the time and venue of the battle have been announced." "When and where?" Yi Chen asked. Lin Tai took a deep breath in and enunciated word for word, 3 days later at the peak of the snow mountain. Yi Chen frowned. "The peak of the snow mountain? Which snow mountain?" "The Jade Dragon Snow Mountain." Lin Tai paused and introduced again. "The Jade Dragon Snow Mountain is the snow mountain that's closest to the equator in the northern hemisphere. It's covered in snow all year round. There are 13 snowy peaks that stretch endlessly like giant flying dragons. That's why it's called the Jade Dragon Snow Mountain." Yi Chen was stunned at first, then he could not help but laugh in surprise. He had killed Yuan Bupo on the river and subsequently defeated Northern Devil Jiang on the lake. Clearly, the three masters thought that his ability could be fully unleashed on the water, so they changed it to the snow mountain. The snow mountain was covered in snow all year round. The temperature was low, so it was difficult for ordinary people to survive, let alone fight. Therefore, the three masters wanted to drain and suppress him. Lin Tai asked carefully after noticing that he was silent, "My lord, the three masters are clearly trying to take advantage of you. Why don't you change the venue?" "It doesn't matter. If it's the snow mountain, so be it. They've chosen a great place to be buried." Yi Chen shook his head and rejected them. He was secretly scoffing. "I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint the three masters this time." At the same time, as the date and venue of the battle were announced, the martial Dao world in China was shaken again. Many people were surprised that the three masters would choose such a place. Only a portion of the people who were observant could tell that the three masters were cunning and cunning. They thought Mad Southern Yi would request to change the venue, but never had they thought that he would not do anything. It was as if he had no idea. Many people were doubting Yi Chen now. After all, forget that he was fighting the three of them on his own. Moreover, he was fighting in a harsh place like the snow mountain. Although that was the case, many people bought tickets to the Jade Dragon Snow Mountain. Some of them could not wait to depart as soon as the news came out. Everyone was rubbing their palms together, secretly anticipating the battle that would take place 3 days later, because the battle could change the situation that had been going on in China for 100 years. Yi Chen ignored the reactions of the outside world. He thought that there were still 2 to 3 days before the battle, so there was no rush. He would bring his daughter out to play every day and drop by the office occasionally. Through the spiritual energy seed, he sensed that Yang Tian had walked over 100 kilometers at the moment. It was quite a speed to walk over 100 kilometers in a day. On the night of the battle, Yi Chen was teaching Meng Meng how to draw while his parents were asleep. However, there was an uninvited guest outside the house. It was Su Yuwei. Su Yuwei stood at the door and did not come in. Instead, she said to Yi Chen while looking at him, "Come out for a while. I have something to tell you." "Just say it. There's no need to be so secretive." Yi Chen frowned and did not move at all. Although she was not the one who sent Guosheng to kill him, Yi Chen did not like this sister-in-law of his at all. Su Yuwei hesitated for a moment and went into the house to look at Meng Meng. She said expressionlessly, "Are you free tomorrow? Come with me." "Where?" Yi Chen asked. Su Yuwei lifted her chin proudly and said, "I'm bringing you to witness a miracle. This miracle is enough to topple your worldview and outlook on life. It'll make you realize that you're useless. Have a safe trip." "I won't send you off," Yi Chen said coldly. Su Yuwei was enraged. She glared at him and said, "There will be a battle between 4 current experts tomorrow. Don't you want to save my sister? How are you going to save her when you're a useless piece of trash? I happen to have time, so I can bring you there." A battle between 4 experts? Yi Chen was stunned at first. The expression on his face was extremely strange. Little did he know that Su Yuwei thought he did not believe it. She could not help but scoff. "Yi Chen, I know you don't believe me, but let me give you a piece of advice. There are many things in this world that are beyond your imagination. Don't mistake your ignorance for intelligence. Do you know what an ancient martial artist is? Do you know what a martial Tao master is? Those are above an ordinary person like you. I'm going to ask you one last time. Are you going or not?" "Yes." Yi Chen agreed to it without even thinking about it. "Sure, I'll pick you up tomorrow morning." Su Yuwei left after saying that. She was in a great mood. She seemed to have seen the exciting expression on Yi Chen's face after witnessing the battle between masters. He felt inferior and broke down. The night in the White Miao village was alluring. Xiaoya, who was dressed in white, stood quietly by the lotus pond. She stared at the fish in the pond in a daze with her beautiful eyes. A one-armed old lady with a walking stick stood behind her. Nobody knew how long had passed when Xiaoya spoke softly. "Granny, Master is in trouble. I have to go. If I can't make it back this time, you'll have to take care of the Miao village." "Nini, is it worth it?" The one-armed old lady took a deep breath in upon hearing that. Bitterness appeared on her old face. "There's no such thing as whether it's worth it or not. There are things that must be done, and there are people that must be saved." Chapter 149. The next morning, Su Yuwei drove to the entrance of Jinyang district early in the morning. She waited for a long time, but Yi Chen was nowhere to be seen. She was so mad that her face turned pale. "That trash couldn't be afraid, so he stood me up and didn't want to go, right?" Just when she was going to ask Guosheng, who was standing aside, to wait while she rushed him, Yi Chen walked out of the neighborhood while carrying Meng Meng. Seeing this scene, Su Yuwei felt that her lungs were about to explode. She walked over quickly and said coldly, "We're going somewhere far this time. Who asked you to bring Meng Meng along? You even brought a dog. Yi Chen, are you out of your mind?" "No, I want to be with Dad." Before Yi Chen could speak, the little girl in his embrace shook her head hard. Su Yuwei could not bear to scold the little girl. She could only vent her anger on Yi Chen. "Have you ever thought about what if something happens?" Yi Chen said coldly, "I'll be fine." After saying this, he got into the Maserati with the little fellow in his arms. Su Yuwei had no choice but to glare at him fiercely. She sat in the front passenger seat and said coldly to Guosheng, "Drive." Guosheng nodded and drove the car onto the highway, heading in the direction of Qiannan. The little girl sat next to Yi Chen. After tossing the patriarch of hell aside, she said coquettishly, "Daddy, I want to play games." Yi Chen handed her the phone. Su Yue, who was sitting in front, turned her head immediately and said, Meng Meng is only 4 years old, and you're letting her play with a phone? Do you want her to wear glasses? No, what kind of father are you? You're so annoying. It's none of your business that I'm playing games. The little guy rolled his eyes and lowered his head to play the game. Yi Chen said, With me around, she won't get myopia. Even if she does, I can cure her. Su Yue chuckled disdainfully. Can a piece of trash like you cure myopia? Yi Chen did not care what she thought of him. He took out a cigarette and was about to smoke. Su Yue immediately scolded, Don't smoke. Do you want Meng Meng to breathe in your second-hand smoke with us? Yi Chen frowned. He regretted going to the Jade Dragon Snow Mountain with her. He put the cigarette back after some hesitation. He closed his eyes and did nothing, ignoring her. Su Yue thought he was showing weakness. She smiled proudly and said, Before we reach the Jade Dragon Snow Mountain, I'll give you a warning. When the time comes, there will be a decisive battle between experts. When you arrive, you are not allowed to speak carelessly, nor are you allowed to run around. You just need to follow me closely. Otherwise, if something happens, you will have to bear the consequences. Yi Chen acted like he did not hear her. Seeing this, she could only suppress her anger and turn her head away. I really don't know where you get your confidence and calmness from. After witnessing a fight between grandmasters, one would realize that one's pride, confidence, and composure would be completely destroyed. What she didn't know was that the dog in the back of the car was staring at her. After seeing Su Yue, Patriarch Yellow Spring felt that his spring had come again. Guoxing drove very fast. Since they were taking pictures, they did not encounter any traffic police along the way. Over 2 hours later, the car successfully stopped at Ganhaizi. Ganhaizi was a meadow to the east of the Jade Dragon Snow Mountain. It was 4 kilometers long and had a wide view. One could see the white snow far away. As soon as they entered the meadow, although the sun was still shining, the temperature dropped. Yi Chen noticed many people and cars gathered on the meadow. There were both men and women, and most of them were wearing cotton jackets and scarves. Get out! Su Yue turned her head to look at Yi Chen. She opened the car door and took out cold-resistant clothes from the trunk. She wrapped herself up tightly. After the father and daughter got out of the car, she had her eyes fixed on Meng Meng's skinny body. Her pretty face turned grim. I really don't know how you're a father. You came to a place like this and made Meng Meng wear so little. Are you trying to freeze her to death? She took off her cotton jacket as she spoke. Meng Meng, I'll give you Auntie's clothes. Don't catch a cold. No, I'm not cold. The little girl shook her head. In reality, she was only wearing a short-sleeved shirt. It was rather unusual in such a snowy place. However, the little girl often ate the medicinal pills that Yi Chen refined. Although she had yet to cultivate, her physique was incomparable to an ordinary person's. Put it on Meng Meng. Su Yue tossed the cotton jacket to Yi Chen. She was rubbing her hands in the cold. It's fine. You can put it on. Yi Chen returned the cotton jacket to her. Just when Su Yue was going to scold him in anger, a surprised voice suddenly came from behind. Wei Wei? Su Yue turned her head to look and saw 3 young men and women in cotton jackets walking over. The leader was a long-haired lady with a black scarf draped over her chest. Her pretty face was flushed from the cold. There were 2 young men following behind her. Yao Yao, why are you guys here? Su Yue's gloomy mood immediately brightened when she saw the newcomer. She quickly walked over and started chattering. Seemingly sensing Yi Chen's doubt, Guoxing, who was standing aside, walked over and said softly, Master, that's Yao Yu from the Yao family of Jinling. The Yao family is the Su family's affiliate. Ms. Yao happened to be best friends with second young mistress when she was studying in Beijing back then, so they're quite close. Yi Chen came to a realization. At that moment, Yao Yu and the rest noticed Yi Chen. They could not help but ask, Wei Wei, who's that? Just a friend, Su Yue said with an unnatural expression. Yao Yu did not notice her unusualness. She smiled lightly at Yi Chen. Hi, I'm Yao Yu. I'm Wei Wei's good friend. Yi Chen said coldly. Since the Yao family was the Su family's affiliate, they would definitely be enemies in the future. There was no need for him to be nice to them. His cold attitude pissed Su Yue off, especially when the two young men behind Yao Yu were glaring at Yi Chen in a hostile manner. Wow, he's quite arrogant. However, one of the young men could not help but scoff after noticing that Yi Chen and Meng Meng were only wearing short-sleeved shirts. Brother Yi, you're quite fit. Why are you dressed like this in the snow in winter? Su Yue's expression turned terrible when she heard the mockery in his words. She thought she should not have brought Yi Chen here. Alright, Kai Rong. Yao Yu frowned and ignored him after taking a good look at Yi Chen. She was a proud person. The reason why she greeted Yi Chen was purely because of Su Yue. Since Yi Chen did not appreciate it, she would not flatter herself. Oh yeah, Yao, are you guys here to watch the battle between the three masters and Mad Southern Yi? Su Yue asked, changing the topic on purpose. Yao Yu nodded. Yes, we rushed here as soon as we heard the news. In reality, there was something that she did not say. The Yao family's master asked her to get to know the heroes there. If Mad Southern Yi could win, it would be best for her to get to know this person. The three masters and Mad Southern Yi haven't shown up yet. I wonder when the battle will begin. Su Yue looked around with a lack of interest. As they were speaking, a silhouette suddenly flew over their heads. Suddenly, a silhouette floated over their heads. It was extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye, it was already far away. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. Was that flying? Nobody knew who snapped back to his senses and said in excitement, That's Western Overlord Lu. I can't believe he's the first to arrive. Chapter 150. What? That's the Jinsei number 1, the Martial Dao Master, Western Overlord Lu? It must be him. Rumor has it that Western Overlord Lu is the fastest among the Eastern Superior, Western Overlord, Southern Mad, Northern Devil, and Zhongwen Sword. No wonder he's a master. Unfortunately, he's too fast. We didn't even manage to greet him. What that person said earlier pushed the cold scene to a boiling point. Everyone lifted their eyes to look at where the silhouette disappeared. Shock filled their eyes. Yi Chen squinted. So he's Western Overlord Lu? Su Yue asked by instinct. Was that really Western Overlord Lu? I think so. The young man next to Kai Rong took over the conversation and said, Ms. Su, I heard from my father that Western Overlord Lu has been cultivating a movement technique since he was young. He's extremely fast. You are? Su Yue was stunned. The young man smiled proudly. My name is Chui Yen. My father is Chui Wenhan of Form Will Fist. Before Su Yue and the rest could speak, a middle-aged man exclaimed, The famous Form Will Fist Master, Master Chui, is your father. That's right. Chui Yen nodded with his arms behind his back. However, there was a faint smugness on his face. I was lucky enough to meet your father 10 years ago. Your father had already mastered Form Will Fist to its peak back then. It's been 10 years since I last saw him. I suppose he's going to become a master soon? The man clasped his fists at Chui Yen immediately. Chui Yen smiled calmly. Soon. My father has already unblocked his conception and governing vessels. He'll definitely become a master in less than 20 years. Everyone's expression changed as soon as he said that. Everyone's expression changed, and the way they looked at Chui Yen changed again. In other words, his father was an illuminating pulse expert now. If nothing went wrong, he could become a master in 20 years. Even Su Yue could not help but look at him again. Brother Chui, you're Master Chui's son after all. Can you tell us who's going to win the battle today? Someone asked curiously. Everyone had their eyes on Chui Yen. Chui Yen clenched his fists and said in certainty, Mad Southern Yi will definitely lose this battle. Why? Su Yue's expression turned slightly cold. Mad Southern Yi was someone that her Su family wanted to recruit. Now that he was looked down upon, of course, she was uncomfortable. Chui Yen said while smiling, although Mad Southern Yi is powerful, he has always been fighting alone. This time, the three masters are working together. Among them, Northern Devil Jiang focuses on defense, Eastern Superior Ning focuses on strength, and Western Overlord Lu focuses on speed. With these three advantages, how can Mad Southern Yi not be defeated? Makes sense, makes sense. Kai Rong could not help but nod and sigh, what a pity. Mad Southern Yi is destined to fail here today. In my opinion, Mad Southern Yi is seeking death. He thinks that he's so arrogant after killing Yuan Bupo that he has to provoke Northern Devil Jiang and kill people everywhere, Chui Yen said while chuckling. Shut up. Seeing that he was going too far, Su Yuwei berated. Meanwhile, two silhouettes flew through the air again. One of them was dressed in black. It was Northern Devil Jiang, while the other was dressed in green. He was approximately 40 years old, and had his hands behind his back. He looked arrogant. Someone exclaimed immediately, "They're here, they're here. It's Northern Devil Jiang and Eastern Superior Ning." At this moment, everyone looked at the sky and shouted in unison, "We greet the two Grandmasters." Greetings, Masters. Even Yao Yu, Su Yuwei and the rest clasped their fists. They did it for no other reason than that the duo above them stood at the peak of martial Dao in China. On top of that, they were one of the main characters in this battle. Ah! Hysterical laughter echoed in the air. Northern Devil Jiang's clothes fluttered in the wind. He did not even look at the people on the ground. Instead, he turned his head and said to the man in green, "Brother Ning, do you dare to compete with me in terms of speed? Let's see who gets to the peak of the snowy mountain first." "Why would I be afraid?" The man in green scoffed coldly. As soon as he was done speaking, the duo's speed skyrocketed. Within the blink of an eye, they were far away. Their speed was so fast that it was hard to catch their movements. The people were shocked to see that. The power of a master was like a god. After Northern Devil Jiang and Eastern Superior Ning left, a commotion came from behind. A group of people in all sorts of strange attire walked over. The leader was an old man in black martial attire. His temples were bulging and his aura was terrifying. It's sect leader Tang from Kongtong's sect. Nobody knew who screamed. Someone looked at the old man with a goatee and said in shock, "Sect leader who from Baji sect is here too. And Venerable Master Jin Guang." The people were completely dumbfounded when they saw a monk in a torn kasaya with a ring scar on his face. Even sect leader Tang and sect leader Hu, whom everyone was talking about, could not help but walk to the monk quickly. They bowed and said, "Greetings, Venerable Master." "What master? You're being too polite. I'm just a vegetarian monk who prays to Buddha." Venerable Master Jingguang bowed. Su Yuwei could not help but ask upon seeing that, "Who's Venerable Master Jingguang? Isn't Venerable Master a Taoist priest?" Venerable Master Jingguang is an eminent monk from Wutai Mountain. I heard he was a Taoist priest for a few days before he became a monk. That's why he's called Venerable Master Jingguang. He's also a martial Dao master, Chui Yen said in all seriousness. Kai Rong was shocked. He was in slight disbelief. What? He's a martial Dao master too? That's right. Chui Yen nodded and said, Venerable Master Jingguang graduated with his skills before he became a Taoist priest. He learned Shaolin's secret technique after he became a monk. He was already a martial Dao master 10 years ago. Yao Yu and the rest could not help but inhale sharply. Yao Yu and the others couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. They looked at Monk Golden Light with reverence. They didn't expect this person, who looked so ordinary, to be a grandmaster. Yichen could not help but glance at him, but he soon lost interest. He had never liked monks. Yao Yu hesitated and walked over anyway. She clasped her fists at Venerable Master Jingguang. Greetings, Venerable Master. My father is Yao Chenglin. So, you're the descendant of an old friend. Since that's the case, you guys can come with me. We can take care of each other, Venerable Master Jingguang said calmly. Yao Yu was elated. She turned her head and said to Su Yuwei and the rest, Wei Wei, come here now. Let's go. Open your eyes and take a good look later. Don't say that I didn't give you a chance, Su Yuwei said with a scoff while glaring coldly at Yi Chen. The few of them followed Venerable Master Jingguang to the Jade Dragon Snow Mountain. Over 10 minutes later, a world of ice and snow came into view. The most attractive thing was the 13 snow-capped peaks that stood far away. They looked like 13 white pillars that could support the sky. They were so tall that they could not be reached. Sect leader Hu from the Baji sect exclaimed while stroking his beard, "It's indeed a tourist attraction. The scenery alone makes our trip worthwhile. Guys, look. There are people on the 3 highest snow-capped peaks," someone exclaimed. The people looked over immediately. They saw a silhouette standing on each of the 3 snow-capped peaks that were up to 100 meters tall. The 3 of them did not move at all, as if they were waiting for someone. Venerable Master Jingguang said while smiling, "It's Northern Devil Jiang, Eastern Superior Ning, and Western Overlord Lu. Oh my God, how did they get up there? Aren't they cold?" A young lady had disbelief written all over her face. The rest mocked her as soon as she was done speaking. Of course they flew up there. If a master can't even do that, how can he be called a master? Moreover, a master can use his true energy to ward off the cold. He won't feel cold. Someone looked around and could not help but ask, "Why don't I see Mad Southern Yi?" The people snapped back to their senses after being reminded. Kai Rong said by instinct, "Don't tell me that Mad Southern Yi doesn't dare to come? If that's the case, we can't fight today." Sect leader Hu from the Baji sect shook his head coldly. "It seems like this Mad Southern Yi is just a cowardly bandit. He has the guts to fight, but he doesn't have the guts to fight. To me, Mad Southern Yi doesn't live up to his name. The rumors about him are too exaggerated. If I'd known that, I would have fought him no matter what." Sect leader Tang from the Kongtong sect scoffed. Yi Chen frowned and was going to suppress him. "Why would I need my master to defeat you?" At that moment, a cold voice came from the back of the crowd. The smile on sect leader Tang's face froze on the spot. The people could not help but look toward the direction of the voice. They saw a lady in white walking out of the crowd slowly. The lady had extremely beautiful features and a cold aura. She was like a snow lotus that bloomed on Tianshan Mountain. Yi Chen was stunned when he saw who it was. He was very surprised. Why is she here? Chapter 151. The person who came was Xiao Ye, the disciple he took in the Hmong village. Why is she here? Yi Chen was between laughter and tears. It had only been a few days since they last met, but her strength had improved quite a bit. It seemed like she had practiced quite a bit of the 33 days divine fist that he had imparted to her. Xiao Ye's appearance instantly attracted everyone's attention. Even Su Yuwei and Yao Yu, who were next to Yi Chen, were no exception. Mengming's eyes lit up in Yi Chen's embrace. She called out by instinct, "Auntie Xiao." Xiao Ye didn't hear her, but Su Yuwei rolled her eyes at her and said, "Meng, don't talk nonsense." She could feel that this beautiful woman who had suddenly appeared was hostile. She should be Mad Southern Ye's disciple. Sect leader Tang from Kongtong's sect snapped back to his senses too. He looked at Xiao Ye ambiguously. "Little girl, were you talking to me just now?" Xiao Ye walked toward sect leader Tang expressionlessly with a long black bag in her hand, as if she did not hear what he said. Many people's expressions changed, and they immediately gave way. Her ignorance enraged sect leader Tang. "Little girl, let me ask you again. Were you talking to me just now?" Xiao Ye stopped when she was less than 5 steps away from him. Her pretty face was extremely cold. "Old dog, if my master was here, would you dare to repeat what you said just now?" What? The surrounding people were in an uproar, and they looked at Xiao Ye in disbelief. "Old dog." She called sect leader Tang an old dog. One must know that sect leader Tang was the sect leader of Kongtong's sect. Not only was he respected, but he was also an expert at the peak of illuminating pulse. Even Yi Chen was dumbstruck by it. What did you call me? Sect leader Tang's expression was extremely interesting, as if he had just eaten a fly. Xiaoya suddenly smiled. My master, Mad Southern Yi, killed Yuan Bupo first and defeated Northern Devil Jiang later. He's famous in China and the world. You're just a piece of trash on illuminating pulse. How dare you criticize him behind his back? Who gave you the courage? Bastard, you're Mad Southern Ye's disciple. Sect leader Tang cursed angrily. He was the dignified sect leader of Kongtong's sect, but someone was pointing at his nose and calling him a piece of trash. How could he not be angry? That's right. Thank you for taking me in as your disciple. Xiaoya smiled proudly. As soon as he said that, everyone's spirits were shaken. Since when did Mad Southern Yi have such a beautiful disciple? He had never heard of it before. At this time, Kai Rong seemed to remember something. He looked at Xiaoya in surprise and said, I remember now. Aren't you Xiaoya, the female star who received the Golden Horse Award? When did you become Mad Southern's disciple? With his reminder, everyone came to their senses. Sect leader Tang smirked in a creepy manner. I think it's your crotch disciple, right? I didn't expect Mad Southern Yi to be a pervert. He's using the name of a master to flirt with a female celebrity. I've learned something new. Xiaoya had never heard such filthy words before. She looked at him with murderous intent. Yi Chen stared right into sect leader Tang's eyes. To him, the man was already a dead man. It seems like this Mad Southern Yi isn't a decent person. I was wrong about him. Su Yue looked disappointed. Clearly, she believed what sect leader Tang said. Sect leader Tang ignored Xiaoya's stare. Instead, he scoffed. Since you're Mad Southern Ye's disciple, let me ask you, why didn't Mad Southern Yi come? Instead, he sent a disciple like you here? Could it be that you're scared? I've told you. Why would my master need to fight a piece of trash like you? As his disciple, it's enough for me to teach you a lesson on his behalf. Xiaoya took a deep breath in. The black bag in her hand exploded, revealing a long bone whip. The long whip emitted a faint black murderous aura. The people could not help but feel chills running down their spines. They felt like they were being targeted by a venomous snake. The battle was about to begin. Everyone retreated far away immediately. The moment the long whip was revealed, Venerable Master Jingguang's expression changed. Venerable Master Jingguang's expression changed immediately. He stared at the white bone whip in Xiaoya's hand, and greed flashed in his eyes. A magic tool. He sensed the fluctuation of magic power on the long bone whip. It must be a magic tool. Why does this girl have a magic tool? Could it be that Mad Southern Yi gave it to her? Should he snatch it from her? He could not help but take a good look at Xiaoya. All sorts of thoughts were intertwining in his head. Go to hell, old dog! Xiaoya shrieked. The long bone whip in her hand seemed like it was alive. It turned into a venomous snake and charged at sect leader Tang. Sect leader Tang's expression changed. He stretched his arm out to grab the long bone whip by instinct. Never had he thought that he would feel a sharp pain as soon as he touched the long bone whip. He looked again. The skin on his palm was instantly lacerated. Sect leader Tang retreated continuously. He looked at Xiaoya while enduring the pain. There was only fear left in his eyes. Why do you have a magic tool? Go and ask the king of hell. Xiaoya charged over while waving the long bone whip. Her petite body contained great power. How dare you? Do you really think I'm scared of you? Sect leader Tang was enraged. He took the initiative to charge at her. However, he dodged the long bone whip's attack this time. To him, Xiaoya's ability was nothing powerful. The reason why he was at a disadvantage was because of the power of the magic tool. Go to hell. Sect leader Tang dodged the white bone whip's attack. He moved quickly and slapped Xiaoya with his palm. There was a faint explosion sound in the air as the wind from his palm blew. Cui Yen swore, "This woman is dead meat." However, in the next second, Xiao Ye whistled calmly. A green gleam flew out of her sleeve and went straight to sect leader Tang. "What's that?" Sect leader Tang changed his direction and charged. The green gleam exploded into a few pieces and fell onto the ground after being hit. It was clearly a snake. "So, you're from Miaojiang?" Sect leader Tang was shocked. In the next second, a long bone whip landed on his face directly. Half of his face collapsed and his flesh and blood were flying. The long bone whip wrapped around his neck. Xiao Ye exerted strength in her arm, and sect leader Tang knelt onto the ground. "Old dog, you can't even defeat me. What makes you think you're qualified to ask my master for help? Apologize to my master and I'll spare your worthless life." "Ah!" Sect leader Tang shrieked in devastation with resentment written all over his face. *tch, I can't accept this. You merely defeated me with the power of the magic tool. I can't accept this. Go to hell then. Xiao Ye scoffed and began withdrawing the strength of the long bone whip. She was planning to break his neck. Master's name must not be insulted. At that moment, Xiao Ye felt the long bone whip shake intensely. Subsequently, a numbing sensation came from her arm. A powerful force pushed her a few steps back. "Who is it?" Xiao Ye seemed like she was facing a formidable enemy. Good. Venerable Master Jingguang, who was standing aside, pressed his palms together and said, "Little girl, sect leader Tang was merely disrespectful to Mad Southern Yi verbally, but you're trying to kill him. Isn't that too cruel?" "That's right. This lady is quite beautiful, but she's too cruel." "She's as cruel as a snake," the Baji sect master agreed. Someone else said, "She's just like her master. She's not a good person. She deserves to die for insulting my master." Xiao Ye glared at him coldly. "Old monk, are you being a busybody? Theoretically, I shouldn't be asking, but this concerns a human life. Moreover, you're just like your master, Mad Southern Yi. You've killed too many people. Why don't you follow me back to Wutai Mountain? I'll cleanse your sins for you." Venerable Master Jingguang had a compassionate expression on his face. "Don't even think about it. Since you're being a busybody, I'll kill you too." Xiao Ye scoffed. The white bone whip turned into a giant snake again and charged at Venerable Master Jingguang. Venerable Master Jingguang did not move at all. His face was filled with kindness. Just when the white bone whip was about to reach him, he stretched his arm out all of a sudden and grabbed the whip. Xiao Ye's pretty face changed, because she realized that Venerable Master Jingguang was very powerful. He was so powerful that he could control the magic tool that her master had given her with just one grab. Good. This is a ferocious weapon. I'll keep it for the time being. I'll chant scriptures day and night to dissolve the ferocious aura on it." Venerable Master Jingguang smiled and snatched the white bone whip away. Su Yuwei secretly despised him when she saw that. It was obvious that Venerable Master Jingguang had his eyes on the white bone whip. How could he say such high-sounding words? "Old monk, give it back to me." Xiao Ye was so angry that her eyes turned red when she saw the thing that her master had given her being taken away. "Come with me, little girl." Venerable Master Jingguang's smile remained. "You forced me to do this." Xiao Ye's expression turned cold. She took a deep breath and enunciated word for word, "Divine punch created in 33 days, the fourth style, earth-shattering seal." As soon as she was done speaking, she performed hand seals with both hands and pointed at the ground. As everyone watched in shock, a crack that was over 20 centimeters wide appeared on the ground in front of her after a slight tremor. The crack kept spreading toward Venerable Master Jingguang. Venerable Master Jingguang's expression changed. He stomped the ground hard and shouted, "Close!" The ground shook again. The crack that appeared earlier closed right away. Before Xiao Ye could react, Venerable Master Jingguang dashed toward her and pointed his finger at her neck. Xiao Ye could not move at that moment. Sect leader Tang from Kongtong's sect said flatteringly, "Venerable Master, that's great. Not bad." Venerable Master broke this woman's spell with just a word. "You've really widened our horizons," sect leader Hu from Baji sect said while smiling. Venerable Master Jingguang regained his compassionate expression. He looked at Xiao Ye kindly and said, "Little girl, come with me." Wait. At that moment Su Yuwei, who was standing aside, could not take it any more. She said, "Venerable Master, you're a monk after all. Isn't it inappropriate for you to bully a lady like that?" "Since when did I bully her?" Venerable Master Jingguang said while smiling. Su Yuwei smirked coldly. "You know very well what kind of person you are. You snatched her magic tool by force today and want to kidnap her. Aren't you afraid that Mad Southern Yi will come to Wutai Mountain and kill your entire family? Mad Southern Yi has killed countless people. He's sinned. I'll send him off after the three masters kill him." Venerable Master Jingguang's expression changed slightly. He proceeded to say, "Even if the three masters can't kill him, I'll be the first to send him off if he dares to come to Wutai Mountain." As soon as he was done speaking, a faint voice rang out. "Really? Damn Baldy, do you dare to say that again?" Chapter 152. Damned Baldy, do you dare say that again? The voice was neither loud nor soft, but everyone could hear it clearly. Just as everyone was trying to find the speaker, Su Yuwei, who was standing aside, had a change of expression. She looked at Yi Chen coldly. "Are you crazy? Do you have the right to speak here?" His voice fell. The others finally noticed Yi Chen, who was standing behind them. Yao Yu took a good look at Yi Chen and shook her head secretly. "This person is dead for sure. In the end, he will pay the price for his ignorance, even with Su Yuwei's protection." Cui Yen and Kai Rong glanced at each other in unison, and they both saw pleasure in each other's eyes. From the moment they met until now, both of them did not have a good impression of Yi Chen. Now that he had taken the initiative to insult Venerable Master Jingguang, they felt that he had no idea what was good for him. Nobody noticed that joy and excitement filled Xiao Ye's eyes, which were still when she saw Yi Chen. Venerable Master Jingguang had his eyes on Yi Chen. His smile turned slightly cold when he saw the little girl in Yi Chen's embrace. "Sir, what did you call me earlier?" What he hated the most was being called a bald donkey. "Esteemed Master, this is my friend. He doesn't know any better. I hope you don't mind." Su Yuwei stood in front of Yi Chen by instinct. At that moment, she could not wait to strangle Yi Chen. She brought Yi Chen here to broaden his horizons. Initially, she thought Yi Chen would be shocked at the very least, if not afraid, after witnessing the battle between ancient martial artists. However, this good-for-nothing had interrupted at a crucial moment and even called Monk Golden Light a darn baldy. That was a martial Dao master, an existence that even the Su family could not ignore. But no matter what, he was her sister's man after all, and she couldn't just stand by and watch him get into trouble. Venerable Master Golden Light frowned. Just as he was about to give up, an indifferent voice rang in his ears once again. "Damned Baldy, do you dare to repeat what you just said?" For a moment, Su Yuwei was dumbfounded, Venerable Jingguang was dumbfounded, and everyone was dumbfounded. When everyone snapped back to their senses, they looked at Yi Chen as if they were looking at a dead man. This kid was really crazy. Monk Jingguang was so angry that he laughed. Good. Benefactor, you have violated the precept of anger. I suggest that you follow me back to Mount Wutai. Only by eating vegetarian food and praying to Buddha can you dispel the anger in your heart." As his voice fell, he stretched an arm out and charged at Yi Chen like a goshawk. He curled his fingers and grabbed Yi Chen's neck directly. Clearly, he wanted to kill Yi Chen. It was over. Su Yuwei subconsciously closed her eyes, Yao Yu secretly sighed, and Kai Rong and Cui Yen sneered. Bang! The next moment, with a loud bang, Venerable Master Jingguang's body was sent flying and landed heavily on the grass. How was this possible? Everyone was dumbfounded, their faces filled with shock. Su Yue opened her eyes immediately. She looked at Yi Chen in shock when she saw the scene before her. Disbelief filled her beautiful eyes. The expressions on Yao Yu and the others' faces froze. Venerable Master Jingguang stood up from the ground and glared at Yi Chen. Who exactly are you? Although Yi Chen did not unleash his full strength, it proved that Yi Chen was an expert. Didn't you want to send me off? Yi Chen walked to Venerable Master Jingguang one step after another while carrying the little girl. A mocking smirk appeared at the corner of his lips. Now I'm here. What are you waiting for? The people were stunned and could not react at the moment. Venerable Master Jingguang's expression changed. He seemed to have recalled something as he exclaimed in shock, Why, you're mad, Southern Yi? Dead silence filled the place as soon as he said that. Subsequently, waves of shock were stirred at the same time. It turned out that the person that they had been waiting for a long time was right next to them. What? He's mad, Southern Yi? Yi Chen, Su Yue was the most shocked one. Never had she thought that the mad Southern Yi that she had been looking for was the trash to her. It was hard for her to accept that. Yao Yu sucked in a cold breath. So, he's mad Southern Yi. No wonder he was lukewarm to me when we first met. No wonder he's still wearing short-sleeved shirts on the snowy mountain. Kai Rong and Cui Yan's faces turned pale. They could barely stand from the shocking reality. Are you really mad, Southern Yi? Are you an impostor? Sect leader Tang from the Kongtong sect scoffed at the critical moment. Disbelief filled his face. Yi Chen's image was just too different from the mad Southern Yi in the rumors. I almost forgot about you if you didn't say anything. You deserve to die for humiliating my disciple. Yi Chen stretched his arm and grabbed at him. Sect leader Tang's body flew over uncontrollably. Mad Southern Yi, let me go. Sect leader Tang was scared out of his wits. He no longer looked like the expert he was before. Shut up. Yi Chen remained smiling as a bloody mist exploded in his hand. Sect leader Hu of the Baji sect had a drastic change of expression. He turned around in an attempt to run with his inner energy. Where do you think you're going? Die. Yi Chen grabbed at him. Sect leader Hu had just run over 10 meters away, was grabbed by him. Sect leader Hu shrieked, No! Venerable One, save me! Save me! How dare you? So what if you're really mad, Southern Yi? I'm not afraid of you! Venerable Master Jingguang shouted and charged at Yi Chen. Clearly, he was trying to save sect leader Hu of the Baji sect. Scram! Yi Chen took a step out. Everything within 5 meters with him, as the center seemed to be shaking at that moment. A suffocating aura pressed out and swept at Venerable Master Jingguang like a storm. Tui! Venerable Master Jingguang, who was charging at Yi Chen, spat a mouthful of blood from the impact of the aura. He was thrown out directly. Baldy, you don't have to rush to die even if you want to. Don't worry. I'll send you to Buddha after I kill him. Yi Chen smiled coldly. Sect leader Hu of the Baji sect exploded into a bloody mist in his hand. He did not even manage to shriek. Dead silence filled the place. Yi Chen had killed 2 people consecutively just by lifting his hand. From the beginning to the end, sect leader Hu of the Baji sect and sect leader Tang of the Kongtong sect could not fight back at all. Su Yue was trembling all over, and she felt her mind trembling. This piece of trash is so powerful. He killed sect leader Tang and sect leader Hu like he was killing dogs. It was a piece of cake for him. Venerable Master Jingguang lost both times they fought. The rest were dumbstruck. Mad Southern Yi lived up to his name. Yi Chen walked to Xiao Ye slowly and lifted his hand to tap on her fair neck. Xiao Ye's body shuddered softly and she regained her ability to move. Her eyes reddened like a child who had done something wrong. Master, I'm sorry. I've embarrassed you. I've even lost my magic tool. Meanwhile, Monk Golden Light cut a sorry figure as he stood up from the ground. He no longer had the image of an eminent monk. He was still holding the bone whip in his hand. You dare to snatch my disciples' things? Yi Chen's face was cold the moment he turned around. Who gave you the guts to do that? Mad Southern Yi, do you really have to go this far? Venerable Master Jingguang's expression was extremely terrible. There was a hint of fear in his eyes. He did not expect Yi Chen to be so ridiculously powerful. Noisy. Yi Chen moved and appeared before him in the next second. Venerable Master Jingguang's expression changed. He wanted to swing the bone whip at Yi Chen by instinct. However, the next moment, the sound of a joint cracking was heard. His right arm, which was holding the bone whip, was cut off at the shoulder, and a large amount of blood gushed out. The pain of losing his arm caused Monk Jingguang to scream in pain. Everyone felt a chill in their hearts. How cruel! Yi Chen crushed his broken arm, and the bone whip flew back to Xiaoya's hand. Thank you, Master, Xiaoya said after sticking her tongue out. My disciple, step aside. I'll show you the real earth-shattering seal. Yi Chen smiled calmly. He performed a seal with both hands quickly after Xiaoya stepped aside. Chapter 153. Divine Punch created in 33 days, the fourth form, Earth-overturning seal. As soon as Yi Chen said that, a terrifying, indescribable power exploded from his hand. An indescribably terrifying power burst out from his hand, directly condensing into a circular seal, from which a burst of dazzling light burst out. A golden word was faintly flashing on the seal. It was the word overturn. The entire ground shook violently. Everyone was almost unable to stand steadily. They were so frightened that their faces turned ashen. It's an earthquake. Many of them retreated over 10 meters away. Run! Venerable Master Jingguang had goosebumps all over his body. He endured the pain of losing his arm and tried to escape. In the next second, the golden seal arrived above his head directly, covering him entirely. Bang! The ground began to crack. A crack appeared beneath his feet. Close! Venerable Master Jingguang shouted in rage. He stomped on the ground hard and performed the same trick, attempting to close the crack by force. However, the crack grew bigger instead. It was approximately 2 meters wide in the end, and it was still widening. Everyone held their breaths and stared blankly at this scene. They could only feel their hearts trembling. Was that even something a human could do? No! As the crack grew bigger, Venerable Master Jingguang fell into it directly. The crack closed quickly and clamped his neck, revealing only his bald head outside. Yi Chen turned around and asked Xiaoya, "My disciple, did you see it clearly? That's the power of the earth-overturning seal." "I did, Master." Xiaoya nodded. Venerable Master Jingguang looked at Yi Chen furiously. He was so embarrassed that he wanted to die. "Mad Southern Yi, kill me if you want. Why do you have to torture me? Damn Baldy, wouldn't it be too easy for you if I let you die so easily?" Yi Chen chuckled and asked, "My disciple, do you have any poisonous goo with you?" "Yes." Xiaoya was slightly stunned. She then saw a green gleam shoot out of her sleeve. It was a little green snake. She looked at the little snake in her palm and said, "Master, this is the heart-devouring goo. It eats the hearts and flesh of living people. They'll turn into pus in a short while." The crowd gasped upon hearing that. Everyone, including Su Yuwei and Yao Yu, exclaimed in surprise. They instinctively felt their scalps tingle, including Su Yuwei and Yao Yu. "Yua, what do you want to do?" Monk Golden Light's expression changed. "Go." Yi Chen took the little snake and flicked it at Venerable Master Jingguang. The little snake turned into a green gleam and shot at him. It penetrated his bald head. No. Venerable Master Jingguang was trembling non-stop. His face was filled with pain. "Kill me, Mad Southern Yi. Please kill me." He screamed with all the strength in his body. "Three masters, please attack quickly and kill Mad Southern Yi." Before he could finish speaking, his face began to shrink at a speed visible to the naked eye, and soon turned into a pool of pus and blood. Venerable Master Jingguang, an eminent monk of Mount Wutai and a martial arts grandmaster of a generation, died just like that. Dead silence filled the place. Everyone had fear in their eyes when they looked at Yi Chen and Xiaoye again. Was this a demon? Such vicious methods. Yi Chen glanced at the people expressionlessly. He grinned, revealing his white teeth. Who else wants to kill me, Yi Chen? Step forward and let me have a look. Gasp. Everyone retreated a few steps back at the same time. Their movements were synchronized as if they would be implicated if they were a step slower. Su Yuwei had a complicated expression on her face. Is he still that useless piece of trash? Putting aside the fact that he had killed 2 illuminating pulse experts, Venerable Master Jingguang, who was a master, could not fight back at all. The words, "Who else wants to kill me, Yi Chen? Step forward and let me have a look," scared the people to the point that they did not even dare to breathe loudly. They dared not look him in the eye at all. Overbearing, ruthless, decisive, those words came true on him one after another. At that moment, a roar came from the peak of the snow-capped mountain. "Mad Southern Yi, since you're here, come up. You must die today." Everyone lifted their heads to look. They saw a black silhouette standing on the 3rd snow-capped mountain. It was the Jiangbei No. 1, Northern Devil Jiang. "Mad Southern Yi, I, Western Overlord Lu, am here to teach you a lesson for killing my sworn brother. This place will be your burial ground today." On another snow-capped mountain, the Jinsi No. 1, Western Overlord Lu, stood against the wind. He suppressed the entire place, causing the snowstorm around to collapse. Countless people's expressions changed. Yi Chen ignored the duo directly and squinted at the man in green on the 3rd snowy peak. He said coldly, "Are you Eastern Superior Ning?" "That's me." The azure-robed man openly admitted it. Yi Chen said wryly, "Big Dog Jiang is avenging his father-in-law, while Lu Ergu is avenging his sworn brother. I'm curious, why are you doing this? Are you tired of living?" As soon as he said that, everyone was stunned at first, then astonished. Big Dog Jiang, Second Dog Lu, they were 2 famous martial Dao masters. However, Yi Chen referred to them as Big Dog and Ergo. Then, wouldn't Eastern Superior Ning be 3rd Dog Ning? Poochie. Su Yuwei couldn't help but burst into laughter. Yao Yu, who was beside her, tried to hold back her laughter. She looked as if she wanted to laugh but didn't dare to. Yi Chen's voice was neither loud nor soft, but Northern Devil Jiang and Western Overlord Lu heard every single word he said. Their faces twitched hard for a few times, and the killing intent on their bodies grew even stronger. Eastern Superior Ning, who was on the snowy peak, frowned and said slowly, "Mad Southern Yi, you're too arrogant and overbearing. I can't sit back and watch." "Sure." Yi Chen looked at him coldly. "Seeing that we have no grudge between us, I'll give you a chance now. Scram within 3 breaths or I'll kill you." "How dare you, Mad Southern Yi? You're indeed mad. I'll give you a chance too. If you kneel and kowtow to us to apologize, I'll consider leaving your body in one piece." Eastern Superior Ning was enraged by what he said. He was an arrogant person, but never had he thought that Yi Chen would be even more arrogant than him. Forget that Yi Chen fought 3 of them on his own. He even dared to say something like that. "Brother Ning, why are you wasting your breath on someone who's about to die?" Northern Devil Jiang interrupted him and looked at Yi Chen in a condescending manner. "Mad Southern Yi, let me ask you one last time. Do you regret it? You're just a loser. I beat you up like a dog back then. Where did you get the courage to be so arrogant today?" Yi Chen snickered and took a step out. He stepped into the air directly with that one step. Subsequently, he charged at the snowy peak that was midair like an arrow that left the bow. Perhaps it was because he was too fast. A snow wave that was up to 1,000 meters long was stirred behind him. It was like a white waterfall stirring the wind and clouds. There were 13 snowy peaks on the Jade Dragon Snow Mountain. Among them, the one that Northern Devil Jiang was sitting on was the highest. Yi Chen moved and charged directly at Northern Devil Jiang, who was at the highest peak. He slapped his palm out. Scram! Before the palm landed, a series of explosions came from the peak where Northern Devil Jiang was. It seemed like it would collapse at any time. Bang! Northern Devil Jiang's expression changed as a loud thud came. He leaped out immediately, and there was a deep pit where he was earlier. Yi Chen landed on the highest peak. He looked like an ancient god that was looking down on everyone. His extremely cold voice was filled with intense killing intent. 3 old dogs, come and accept your death. Chapter 154. On the vast Jade Dragon Snow Mountain. Tens of thousands of miles of ice, sparkling and translucent like jade. The 13 snowy peaks were like 13 sharp swords that pierced through the clouds. Everyone blankly stared at the silhouette on the highest peak. He was skinny but tall. His silhouette seemed tiny compared to the massive snow mountain. But he was also so conspicuous, as if he was a rock that stood proudly to protect the mountains. 3 old dogs, come and accept your death. An extremely domineering and arrogant voice reverberated in everyone's mind like rolling thunder. Su Yuwei had a complicated expression in her pretty eyes. The trash that she had once thought of as trash was someone that she had to look up to now. Kill! The 3 masters shouted at the same time. The aura on their bodies skyrocketed, causing the temperature of the entire snow mountain to drop significantly. In the next second, Dragon Elephant Prajna Fist. Northern Devil Jiang threw a punch out as killing intent skyrocketed in his eyes. Cold Hell Palm. Western Absolute Lu grabbed the snow mountain next to him. A thick layer of ice formed in his palm. It was condensing chi into ice. One could tell that his inner energy was powerful. Cloud-piercing kick. Eastern Superior Ning kicked out. A green gleam appeared on the tip of his foot. It was like a sword that tore the air beneath his feet into half. The 3 of them moved at the same time. They leaped from the snow-capped peak directly and charged at Yi Chen from 3 different directions while stepping in the air. Everyone's hearts were in their throats. They could not help but feel their hearts in their throat. Xiao Ye carried the little girl with a serious expression on her pretty face. Although they were far away, she could still feel the immense pressure coming from the air. Could Master take it? Su Yuwei bit her lip hard as worry appeared in her pretty eyes. Before this, she thought she was still a stranger to mad Southern Yi. Therefore, she was watching the battle from the sidelines. However, she could no longer maintain her calmness after finding out that Yi Chen was mad Southern Yi. Yi Chen did not move as everyone watched in shock. He merely looked coldly at the 3 masters who were charging at him with powerful energy. Is he going to take it head-on? Someone exclaimed by instinct. The people could not help but open their eyes wide when they heard that. Is he out of his mind? That was an all-out attack from 3 Grand Masters. Under such an attack, not to mention a person, even a mountain could be blown up, right? The next moment, the attacks from the 3 masters landed on Yi Chen accurately, causing the snow mountain to shake. Countless snowflakes were thrown into the sky, blurring everyone's vision. When the snow fell to the ground, the people realized that Yi Chen was sandwiched between the 3 masters. Punches, palms, and kicks were landing on him. Meanwhile, Yi Chen looked as usual. He did not seem to be hurt at all. How was this possible? Northern Devil Jiang, Western Overlord Lu, Eastern Superior Ning, and the rest looked at each other. They saw the shock in each other's eyes. The combined strength of 3 Grandmasters was actually fine? Wasn't his physical body a little too strong? Are you done playing? Now it's my turn. Before they could react, Yi Chen chuckled softly. An overbearing power exploded from his body all of a sudden. The power was like a flash flood. With Yi Chen as the center, it swept out in all directions in an unstoppable manner. The first 3 Grandmasters only felt a wave of energy rushing towards them, and their bodies flew out uncontrollably. Bang! In the distance, 3 snow-capped peaks that were 50 meters tall were shaken by this force. They broke in the middle and collapsed backwards like a mountain range. An endless sea of snow covered the sky and covered the earth as it rolled down. The people on the ground could not help but inhale sharply when they witnessed that. It was an avalanche. Fortunately, the avalanche was coming from the other side of the snow-capped peak. Otherwise, the bunch of people might have been killed. The three grandmasters were forced back more than 100 meters. When they finally stabilized themselves, their faces were filled with shock. Northern Devil Jiang could not stop coughing. He said while suppressing the shock inside of him after wiping the blood at the corner of his lips, "Guys, this man's ability has become more powerful again. We can't hold back anymore. Gather sand into a tower. Consolidate." Western Overlord Lu shrieked and clenched his fist. A sound of ice breaking came. The snow on the ground consolidated into icicles that were as thick as an adult's thigh at that moment. There were up to 100 of them, and they had a cold gleam in their eyes. The icicles soared into the sky directly. They were lined up neatly as if they were tens of thousands of arrows on a bow. At the same time, Ice River's descent. Northern Devil Jiang performed a hand seal quickly, and a terrifying energy exploded. The snow and wind around gathered together. Within the blink of an eye, 5 ice walls were formed above his head. 5 walls of ice condensed above his head, each wall several zhang tall. Mountain suppressing fist. Eastern Superior Ning took a deep breath and sank his chi into his dantian. He quickly performed countless fist shadows. Each of the fist shadows turned into solid ice fists as soon as they came into contact with the cold air. There were approximately 100 of them at first glance. Kill. Northern Devil Jiang took the lead to attack. As he waved, the 5 ice walls above his head charged at Yi Chen at high speed. Each ice wall surrounded Yi Chen from a different direction. He only revealed the front, clearly intending to trap Yi Chen. Western Overlord Lu and Eastern Superior Ning attacked at the same time. Up to 100 icicles and ice fists shot at Yi Chen like tens of thousands of arrows. The 3 grandmasters are trying to trap Mad Southern Yi and kill him. Someone on the ground could not help but inhale sharply. Su Yue's pretty face panicked upon hearing that. Anyone could tell that Northern Devil Jiang and the other 2 had discussed this beforehand. Northern Devil Jiang would trap Yi Chen with the ice walls so that he would take Western Overlord Lu and Eastern Superior Ning's icicles and ice fists head-on. Each icicle could pierce through an armored tank, let alone up to 100 of them. How could Yi Chen take them all? Cui Yen and Kai Rong smirked by instinct. This Mad Southern Yi is dead this time. As soon as they were done speaking, the duo sensed a killing intent coming from next to them. They saw Xiao Yi glaring at them coldly. "I'll kill the 2 of you if you pieces of sh*t say another word." Cui Yen and Kai Rong's expressions changed, and they shut their mouths immediately. "Since you guys have chosen the snow mountain as your burial ground, I'll kill you guys with snow." Yi Chen took a step out as he faced the 3 masters' attacks. He extended his arm and grabbed the air. All the wind and snow within a kilometer radius gathered at that moment. They transformed into a giant white sword behind Yi Chen all of a sudden. The giant sword was like a dragon as it flew across the sky. The sword chi around it traveled 300 meters. "Break it!" As Yi Chen thought to himself, the giant sword that was more than 10 meters long behind him released a sword hum. As if it was alive, it charged at the ice walls that were coming at him with a howling sword chi. Bang, 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 a series of loud thuds came. The 6 ice walls that Northern Devil Jiang consolidated were broken by the giant sword. The sword's power did not decrease at all, as if it was going to break heaven and earth. The 10,000 icicles and ice fists were destroyed one after another. How is that possible? Northern Devil Jiang's expression changed drastically. He did not expect the attack that the 3 of them consolidated with all of their true energy to be destroyed by Yi Chen's sword at all. The giant sword was like a white dragon. It returned to Yi Chen after circling around. Yi Chen held the sword hilt and took a step out. He slashed at Northern Devil Jiang, who was the closest to him. He gathered the snow that filled the sky and turned it into a giant sword. On the day that the giant sword was formed, why not kill a grandmaster as a sacrifice? It was considered his first time fighting back. It would be fine if he did not attack, but as soon as he attacked, his sword would be like thunder. Die. Northern Devil Jiang had goosebumps all over his body at that moment. He gathered all of the true energy in his body and dodged quickly. However, the giant sword was too big. No matter how fast he was still within the giant sword's attack range. Northern Devil Jiang was furious. No! As the sword swept across, he was sliced into half by the sword. Bright red blood splattered into the sky. It was glaring and devastating in the snowy sky. At that moment, the entire place was filled with dead silence. Shock, absolute shock. The Jiangbei No. 1, Northern Devil Jiang, was dead. The three masters thought that Yi Chen would definitely die when they teamed up. Never had they thought that Yi Chen would kill one of them instead. They would not have believed it if they had not seen it with their own eyes. Western Overlord Lu and Eastern Superior Ning were in shock too. A chill rose in their hearts as they watched Northern Devil Jiang's body that was sliced into half fall at a high speed. The duo jolted and saw Yi Chen's cold stare when they snapped back to their senses. It's your turn now. Chapter 155. At that moment, the entire Jade Dragon Snow Mountain returned to silence again. Everyone looked at the skinny silhouette in the sky blankly. They had no idea if it was an illusion, but they felt that the snow mountain was getting colder. Although their bodies were cold, their hearts were burning. Northern Devil Jiang was dead. Would the remaining two masters be far from death? The three of them could not hurt him even when they worked together. Now that there were only two of them, how could they be his match? Tiannan's Mad Southern Yi, you live up to your name. Eastern Superior Ning's heart sank as he sensed Yi Chen's cold stare. His hands that were behind his back were shaking slightly. Yes, he was afraid. Among Yuan Bupo, Northern Devil Jiang, Western Overlord Lu, and unquestionable Jian, Eastern Superior Ning was the proudest and most conceited person. He knew that not many people in China were worthy of his respect. However, he was really afraid at that moment. The three of them worked together to fight him, but he dealt with them with ease. Not only was he fine, but he even killed Northern Devil Jiang. Compared to him, Western Overlord Lu's expression was much more terrible. He glared deadly at Yi Chen as the regret in his heart grew stronger. This guy is only 30 years old, but he's already so powerful. How many people in China can suppress him? I can't do what I did today. I can't risk my life for a dead man. Western Overlord Lu made up his mind as he thought to this point. He clasped his fists at Yi Chen from far away. Mad Southern Yi, I think we can resolve the conflict between us. Why don't we stop now? Don't worry, I won't hold a grudge against you. The crowd gasped as soon as he was done speaking. The crowd on the ground was in an uproar. Their faces were filled with disbelief, and they felt dizzy. Western Overlord Lu is admitting defeat. The three masters were confident when they worked together. However, such a thing happened. It would definitely stir up a storm if the news spread. On the other hand, some of them nodded and secretly praised Western Overlord Lu for what he did. After all, a man should know when to yield. Moreover, if Western Overlord Lu took the initiative to admit defeat, Mad Southern Yi would definitely stop fighting. Otherwise, the two masters would fight him to the death. Su Youwei's beautiful eyes gleamed. Yi Chen, oh Yi Chen, you've given me too many surprises. I thought you were just a piece of trash. Who would have thought that you're the Mad Southern Yi that I've been looking for? I thought you might not be the three masters' match. Who would have thought that you wouldn't be at a disadvantage facing the three of them? You killed Northern Devil Jiang Bei just by lifting your arm. You've even forced Western Overlord Lu to admit defeat. Western Overlord Lu admitted defeat. Just as everyone was shaking their heads and thinking that the battle was over, they heard a sneer in the air. Eastern Overlord Yi. Yi Chen looked at Western Overlord Lu as a mocking smirk appeared at the corner of his lip. Aren't you going to avenge your sworn brother? Didn't you say that this snowy mountain would be my burial ground? Western Overlord Lu's smile froze as he secretly cursed Yi Chen. However, he said while smiling, Brother Yi, you're powerful. I'm ashamed of my own inferiority, and I'm very impressed. Eastern both, Chen said, Su, I Southern Mountain Dragon both, Yang Southern Lord. King R. If we continue to fight, both of us will be injured. Since that's the case, let's call it a day and have a drink. Eastern Superior Ning looked grim. It was a silent agreement. The so-called pride and dignity of Western Overlord Lu was fragile in the face of life. Western Overlord Lu spoke again. Brother Yi, brother? Yi Chen interrupted him directly and looked at him extremely coldly. How dare a piece of trash like you call me brother? Since you know that I'm more powerful than you should kneel and accept your death. You! Western Overlord Lu was enraged. Those who want to kill me, Yi Chen, must die. None of them will live. You guys are no exception. Yi Chen's cold voice carried no emotion at all. Moreover, the Southern Killer and the Northern Devil are dead. Eastern Superior and Western Overlord are the only ones left. Since that's the case, what's the point of living? How dare you, mad Southern Yi? Do you really think that we're afraid of you? You forced me to do this. Western Overlord Lu shrieked in rage. Madness flashed through his face. Subsequently, he took out a red medicine bottle and poured it into his mouth after removing the cork. On the other hand, Yi Chen was sizing him up with interest. To be exact, he was sizing up the red medicine bottle. Because the moment the cork was opened, he smelled a violent aura. The next moment, Western Overlord Lu's body expanded tremendously. The clothes on his body were torn into pieces, revealing his arms that looked like horned dragons. His chest was puffed up as well. Meanwhile, his aura also rose several times, making him look like a ferocious beast in human form. Brother Ning, what are you waiting for? Western Overlord Lu looked at Eastern Superior Ning next to him. His eyes were bloodshot and filled with madness. Eastern Superior Ning sighed softly. He took out a red medicine bottle and swallowed all the liquid inside. Soon, he transformed just like Western Overlord Lu. Seeing this scene, on the ground, Su Yuwei was taken aback at first, then her pretty face changed. This is the reagent of the Celestial Research Institute? How did they get it? This is your trump card. Yi Chen chuckled. It was undeniable that Northern Devil Jiang, Western Overlord Lu, and Eastern Superior Ning were very powerful. Their abilities were on par with Mastery Stage Spirit Assembly cultivators. If they were regular cultivators, it would be hard to tell who would win if they fought them one-on-one. However, they were unlucky to have encountered Yi Chen. Yi Chen was a heavenly emperor, so he could cast all kinds of spells easily. He could understand the so-called cultivation methods just by looking at them. Moreover, he had the physical body of an immortal venerable. This was his greatest reliance and trump card. As long as he was not targeted by the advanced technology of Earth, such as atomic bombs, he would not be injured. His whole body was like steel bars and bones. Mad Southern Yi, you've forced us to do this. Western Overlord Lu's long hair danced in the wind. He moved and charged at Yi Chen at the same time as Eastern Superior Ning. They were even faster than before. Yi Chen did not panic at all. He curled his fingers into a fist. His fist was covered in an extremely overbearing power, exuding a destructive aura. His entire fist was filled with a golden glow, making heaven and earth lose their color. Divine Punch created in 33 days the sixth form, Shock Hammer. As his voice fell, a terrifying force spread out with Yi Chen as the center. It extended for 1,000 meters. Snow-capped mountains collapsed one after another. The avalanche did not stop, causing the expressions on the ground to change. Yi Chen shouted and threw an extremely simple punch. There were no fancy movements at all, but Western Overlord Lu and Western Overlord Lu, who were 100 meters away, were shocked. In their pupils, he felt a golden fist growing larger and larger, like the hand of the heavens. Not good. Western Overlord Lu and Eastern Superior Ning had a drastic change of expression. They threw a punch with all of their strength and activated their protective qi barrier at the same time. They seemed to be trying to dissolve the power of Yi Chen's punch. Bang! However, the next moment, Yi Chen's fist was like a knife cutting through tofu. It broke through their protective qi barrier directly and landed hard on Eastern Superior Ning, who was at the front. Pooh! Eastern Superior Ning's face turned pale as he spat out a mouthful of blood. His body, which had been polished under the waterfall for decades and was strong enough to withstand the continuous fire of an automatic rifle, shattered with a loud bang, directly exploding into a cloud of blood mist. Not even his bones were left. It looked like a blooming cuckoo. The people on the ground held their breaths when they saw that. They felt like they were fainting before their eyes. Eastern Superior Ning was dead. The second martial Dao master after Northern Devil Jiang was dead. That was not all. Although Western Overlord Lu had split part of his power, Western Overlord Lu, who was at the back, did not feel good either. His chest had caved in by 5 centimeters, and a fist mark had appeared on his back. Bang! Western Overlord Lu wanted to dissolve the power by instinct, but his entire right arm exploded. Run, I must run. The immense pain stimulated his will to live. Ignoring the pain of his broken arm, he suddenly turned around and took a step forward. It was as if he had grown wings, and in an instant, he had leaped more than 100 feet away. The people on the ground were dumbstruck. They were so shocked that their eyeballs almost popped out of their sockets. Is Western Overlord Lu running? Yi Chen had a majestic aura as if he was the reincarnation of the god of war. He chased after Western Overlord Lu while stepping in the air. I've told you that none of the people that I, Yi Chen, want to kill will live. You'll still die even if I chase after you for 1,000 miles. Chapter 156. The three masters teamed up to kill Yi Chen. However, Northern Devil Jiang died at the beginning of the battle, followed by Eastern Superior Ning and Western Overlord Lu, who were severely injured. The duo's death had completely triggered Western Overlord Lu. Since he had drunk the medicine, he burned his true energy with all his might to escape. Yi Chen was not in a hurry. He followed behind them at a steady pace. He wanted to see who else dared to step forward to save them. Dianan Spring City. There were more than 10 luxury cars parked on the mountain road leading to the Jade Dragon Snow Mountain. Among them, a Rolls-Royce Phantom and a Pagani stood out the most. Beside the convoy stood 2 middle-aged men. If Yi Chen were here, he would definitely see them. They were Chao Tianba from the Dianan wealthy family, the Chao family, and Zhao Jiming from the Zhao family. However, as the three masters challenged Yi Chen, these people did not have high hopes for him. Therefore, they announced that they were cutting ties with him, drawing a line between them. However, Chao Tianba and Zhao Jiming's faces were gloomy as they glanced in the direction of the Jade Dragon Snow Mountain from time to time. In the end, a young man beside them couldn't help but ask, "Dad, Uncle Zhao, who do you think will win this battle on the Snow Mountain?" As soon as he said that, Chao Tianba and Zhao Jiming looked at each other and saw the smile in each other's eyes. "It doesn't matter who wins. What's important is that we can't lose," Zhao Jiming said meaningfully. The young man was confused. He could only look at Zhao Jiming. "Uncle Zhao, I don't quite understand what you're saying. All the wealthy families in Dianan have betrayed Mad Southern Yi. If he wins, we can imagine what will happen to us." Zhao Jiming smiled and said nothing. Chao Tianba shook his head and said, "Jiahao, let me ask you. If Mad Southern Yi really wins, will they kill all the wealthy families that betrayed him?" I don't think so, but, Chao Jiahao said thoughtfully. No buts. Chao Tianba interrupted him. Your Uncle Zhao is right. No matter who wins, we can't lose. If the three masters win, then our betrayal of Mad Southern Yi will be the right thing to do. We won't have to bear the wrath of the three masters. If Mad Southern Yi wins, we'll shamelessly go up to him and bow our heads to him. We'll find an excuse at the same time. As the saying goes, the law doesn't punish the masses. Mad Southern Yi won't be able to do anything to us. At this point, Chao Tianba revealed a cunning smile. Jiahao, this is the reason why my Chao family has been standing tall all this time. Brother Chao is right. How can a mere young man like Mad Southern Yi fight us? Zhao Jinming, who was at the side, smiled lightly and said, Moreover, Mad Southern Yi has no chance of winning against the three masters. Let's wait patiently. I believe the result will be out soon. Just as they were talking, they noticed a silhouette dashing toward them from the mountains 300 meters away. It's Western Overlord Lu. Someone immediately recognized the other party's identity. Why did he come out? Chao Tianba was stunned at first, then he revealed an expression as if he had expected it. Could it be that the three masters won and Mad Southern Yi died? Brother Chao, let's go congratulate Master Lu. Zhao Jinming said and took the initiative to welcome Western Overlord Lu, who was running toward them with over 10 bodyguards. Seeing that Zhao Jinming was being so courteous, Chao Tianba secretly cursed him for being a cunning old fox and immediately caught up with him. At that moment, Western Overlord Lu was only 100 meters away from them. Greetings, Master Lu. Chao Tianba and Zhao Jinming bowed to Western Overlord Lu, who was far away. They said while clasping their fists, Congratulations, Master Lu, for killing Mad Southern Yi. After this battle, Master Lu's name will definitely be the best in China. The tens of people behind them said in unison, Greetings, Master Lu. Get lost. Western Overlord Lu screamed when he saw that his path was blocked. Dad, something's wrong. At that moment, Chao Jiahao said all of a sudden, Guys, look, Master Lu's hand. The people lifted their heads to look by instinct. They saw that Western Overlord Lu's left arm was gone and he was covered in blood. His chest was deeply sunken, and he looked extremely clumsy. He turned his head to look as he ran. He looked panicked as if he was being chased. What was going on? At that moment Chao Tianba, Zhao Jinming, and everyone else were dumbstruck. The three masters were defeated? How was that possible? Those who stand in my way will die. Western Overlord Lu screamed and slapped them hard with a single palm. He had been running from the Jade Dragon Snow Mountain to Spring City for over 300 kilometers. Yi Chun had been chasing him for over 300 kilometers too. Who would have thought that at such a crucial moment, Chao Tianba and the rest coming to welcome him was no different from blocking his way. Coupled with the flattery, it was no different from mockery and humiliation to Western Overlord Lu's ears. I can't kill Mad Southern Yi. Can I kill you bunch of trash? His killing intent skyrocketed. Western Overlord Lu smashed Chao Jiahao's head with his palm. Seeing this scene, Chao Tianba reacted and roared with his eyes wide open. No! Zhao Jinming shuddered and made a prompt decision. Kill him, quick, kill him! The tens of bodyguards charged at Western Overlord Lu one after another, as if they had just woken up from a dream. They clearly wanted to beat him up when he was down. Die! Lu Shijue was enraged. He slammed his palm again with a fierce force and created a huge pit on the ground. The tens of people who charged over did not even have the time to scream before their corpses were obliterated. Even the head of the Zhao family, Zhao Jinming, had died. This was the power of a guru. Chao Tianba was hit by the energy and was sent flying. He spat out a mouthful of internal organs and clotted blood. His eyes glazed over. Why? How did this happen? He did not understand how the situation had turned out this way, and he had never expected it. Western Overlord Lu glared at him coldly, as if he wanted to kill him. All of a sudden, he looked behind him and his expression changed drastically. He then leaped forward again. After he left, a thin voice leaped out from the forest. Chao Tianba, who was on the verge of death, narrowed his eyes as if he had seen his savior. "My lord, save me, I don't want to die." Yi Chen stopped walking and looked around. Eventually, he fixed his gaze on him. His expression was extremely cold. "I will never save a traitor. Tui." Chao Tianba spat another mouthful of blood and died on the spot. The prestigious Dian and wealthy family, the Chao family, had died just like that. He did not even have the chance to settle the score with Yi Chen. If he had another chance to choose, he would definitely not choose to betray Yi Chen. He would not have done that if he had known this would happen. Yi Chen shook his head and chased after Western Overlord Lu. He could sense Western Overlord Lu's aura along the way. "Western Overlord Lu, I've told you that you won't be able to escape even if you're 1,000 miles away." Chapter 157. Tiannan, Lin City, the Gu residence's living room. Gu Junwei, who was in his military uniform, was chatting with the old master on the couch. Compared to his calmness, old Master Gu had a lot on his mind. Gu Yingying stood aside and paced around with her arms crossed. She would look out of the window from time to time as if she was waiting for something. Gu Junwei picked up the military cap on the table and put it on his head after picking up a call. He said to old Master Gu while smiling, "Dad, I still have something to do in the army. I'll head back first." "So soon?" The old master was shocked at first, then he sighed and said, "Why don't you leave after the battle at the Snow Mountain is over? There's no need to wait." Gu Junwei's expression turned slightly grim. He shook his head and said, "The ending has been decided since the beginning. There's no need to waste your time on a dead man." He turned around and walked out of the villa in determination after saying that, but he was secretly scoffing. Although Master Yi was powerful, he only had a small reputation in the martial arts world. It was good enough that he, a colonel, thought highly of Master Yi. Only his father and Yingying would be overly enthusiastic about him. Seeing that he was determined to leave, the old master and Gu Yingying followed him immediately. They sent him to the entrance of the villa where a jeep was parked. At that moment, a black BMW stopped by the road. As the car door opened, Ah Hu in a suit walked out quickly. He could not hide the shock on his face. How was it?" the old master asked immediately. He had sent Ah Hu out to find out about the battle at the Snow Mountain. Since he was back, it meant that the battle had ended. Ah Hu could not help but look at Gu Junwei next to him. He wanted to say something but hesitated. Seeing that, Gu Junwei secretly shook his head and was about to get into the car. To him, the so-called Master Yi must have lost. Otherwise, Ah Hu would not look like that. "Brother Hu, how was it? Tell me now. I'm so worried." Gu Yingying was stomping her feet in anxiety. She wanted to beat him up badly. Ah Hu's lips trembled violently. "He won. Master Yi won." As soon as he was done speaking, Gu Junwei, who had just turned around, staggered. He turned his head to look at Ah Hu in disbelief. What did you say? Who won?" "Grandmaster Yi won." Ah Hu repeated again and took a deep breath in. He enunciated word for word, 2 hours ago, Master Yi fought the 3 masters on the Jade Dragon's Snow Mountain. Master Yi killed Northern Devil Jiang with a swing of his sword and crushed Eastern Superior Ning with a punch. One of Western Overlord Lu's arms was severed and he was severely injured. He fled for thousands of miles, but Master Yi chased after him for thousands of miles. "What?" Gu Junwei exclaimed, his face filled with horror. Old Master Gu's body trembled slightly. Not only did Grandmaster Yi win, he even killed 2 Grandmasters in a row? He even hunted Western Overlord Lu for 1,000 miles? Gu Yingying covered her red lips as her chest heaved up and down. If he didn't know Ah Hu's character, the old master would even think that he was lying. killing Northern Devil Jiang with a swing of his sword and killing Eastern Superior Ning with a punch. Could a human do all of that? They were 3 martial Dao Grandmasters. Why were 2 dead and 1 crippled after encountering Grandmaster Yi? The old man suppressed the shock in his heart and said, Hu Zi, don't be agitated. Tell us everything clearly. I'm afraid it's too late. Ahu shook his head, not knowing whether to laugh or to cry. He revealed another piece of shocking news. Western Overlord Lu has fled to the beach. He seems to be trying to escape by boat, but Grandmaster Yi has caught up with him. Let's go and take a look. Gu Junwei was the first to wave and subsequently got into the jeep. The old master and the rest did not want to be left behind. They got into the jeep one after another, and the jeep subsequently drove towards the beach at a high speed. Tianan Coast. A speedboat was speeding on the river at a crazy speed. The speedboat was filled with people. There were approximately 20 to 30 of them in total, and they were all black people. Each of them was holding an automatic rifle in their hand. Meanwhile, there was even a heavy machine gun at the back of the boat. The deafening gunshots covered the sound of the speedboat's engine directly. The bullet shells were flying everywhere in the wind and wave. Stop him, stop him. We mustn't let him catch up with us. Western Overlord Lu stood at the bow of the boat and looked approximately 100 meters to the southeast behind the speedboat with shock written all over his face. There was a slender silhouette standing on the river with his arms behind his back. He was following the speedboat closely within a 100-meter range. No matter how the river beneath his feet was rolling, his body could not be shaken at all. The most shocking thing was, there were at least tens of bullets hitting him every second, but he did not look like he was injured at all. The fishermen who were hiding around were stunned to see that. Many of them even began worshipping Yi Chen on the boat. Bullets could not hurt him at all. Oh my God, is he still human? At that moment, an air-piercing sound came from far away. Subsequently, a military helicopter flew over from a corner of the coast at a high speed. However, the helicopter dared not get closer. It maintained its distance from the speedboat's effective shooting range. There were 4 people sitting on the helicopter. They were Old Master Gu and the rest. Grandpa, look. It's really Grandmaster Yi. Gu Yingying looked down from the helicopter with her headphones on. She was surprised to see Yi Chen on the sea. Old Master Gu was shocked to see Yi Chen blocking the bullets with his body alone. However, he regretted it more than anything. Unfortunately, my Gu family betrayed him at such a crucial time. Dad, it's my fault. Gu Junwei looked blankly at the silhouette on the sea and exhaled heavily. I was being a snob earlier. I can't believe that Master Yi is so powerful. If he still had a hint of disbelief when he heard about Yi Chen's battle record earlier, he was filled with shock and admiration now. Grandpa, where did those black men come from? Gu Yingying had her eyes on the bunch of people who were shooting on the speedboat. Just when the old master was going to speak, Gu Junwei, who was standing aside, suddenly said, "They're from the Mafia. The leader is called Koba. He's wanted in our country since he entered the country without permission. I can't believe that he's with Western Overlord Lu now. It seems like they're trying to bring Western Overlord Lu out of the country. This bunch of people is extremely arrogant. Forget about them entering the country illegally, they even dare to shoot in our country's sea territory. We can't let them run away. Otherwise, what will happen to our country's dignity?" Gu Junwei's expression was extremely terrible. Subsequently, he took out his phone and made a call. "I'm Gu Junwei. Help me contact Commander Lu of the Navy. Yes, there are Mafia members in the sea southeast of Lin City. Get them to send people to stop them immediately. The coordinates are east." A while later, Ahu, who was piloting the helicopter, said all of a sudden, "Old Master, this is bad. America's sea territory is 2,000 meters away. We can't go any further. Get Master Yi to stop now." The old master's expression changed. He knew about territory. As soon as they entered America's sea territory, there would be immeasurable consequences. He looked out of the window immediately as he thought to this point. He shouted at Yi Chen, who was on the sea, "Master Yi, we can't go any further. America's sea territory is 2,000 meters away." Chapter 158. Yi Chen lifted his head to glance at them and said calmly, "Don't worry. I can kill all of these pieces of trash within 2,000 meters. As soon as he was done speaking, the old master and the rest on the helicopter were shocked. The old master and the rest on the helicopter were shocked. There were only 2,000 meters left, and the speedboat was still moving forward at a crazy speed. It could travel 10 meters every second. It would take 200 seconds to travel 2,000 meters, which meant that they would arrive at America's territorial waters in slightly over 3 minutes. Was it possible to kill 20 to 30 people on the speedboat within 3 minutes? Moreover, the other party was shooting at them continuously. Ha ha ha! At the same time, Western Overlord Lu's hysterical laughter came from the speedboat. "Mad Southern Yi, you've been chasing me for 1,000 miles. I'll step into America's territorial waters in less than 2,000 meters. By then, you won't dare to kill me even if I'm standing before you. Let me ask you, what can you do to me?" His words were filled with boundless pride. Meanwhile, the 30 people on the speedboat stopped shooting. Instead, they gave Yi Chen all sorts of middle fingers and could not stop cursing. "Come here, sick man of East Asia. Yellow skin dog, I'm waiting for you. Come and kill me if you can. Monkey trash from China, not only did we enter your country without permission, but we're also leaving in broad daylight. What can you do to us?" B****. Old Master Gu and Gu Junwei were enraged. They could not help but curse. Both of them were soldiers. To soldiers, the country's honor was more important than anything else. "Ahoo, give me a gun. I'll kill them today." The old master was shaking in anger. He was dying to jump off the helicopter and fight them. Gu Junwei pulled him back immediately. "Dad, don't be rash. We can only see if Division Commander Lu and the rest can make it in time." Clearly, even he did not have much hope for Yi Chen. Western Overlord Lu's vicious voice came from the speedboat again. "Mad Southern Yi, I'll be back one day. I heard that you have a daughter, right? Don't worry, I'll definitely love her after I catch her. I'll let her experience what it's like to be a woman. Congratulations, ignorant old Lu. You've successfully angered me. From now on, the game ends." A ferocious gleam flashed through Yi Chen's eyes as soon as he said that. The aura on his body suddenly skyrocketed. His voice shook several kilometers, causing waves to rise on the surface of the sea. Even though Old Man Gu and the others had put on their headphones, they still felt their eardrums ringing. When he looked again, however, Yi Chen took a step forward. The seawater beneath his feet rumbled and huge waves were stirred up. "Fire! Quick, fire! Stop him!" Western Overlord Lu's heart jolted, and he immediately ordered. The 30 black men on the speedboat picked up the guns on the boat and began shooting at Yi Chen. "Even an atomic bomb can't kill me, Yi Chen. A mere rifle is nothing." The killing intent in Yi Chen's eyes skyrocketed. He actually took the initiative to face the rain of bullets that were shot at him. In the next moment, a shocking scene appeared. The densely packed bullets in the air suddenly stopped when they were about to reach Yi Chen. It was as if a pair of invisible hands had caught them. "A bunch of black dogs. Yi Chen, will send you guys to God today. Die." Yi Chen slapped hard, and the countless bullets that were frozen in the air flew back. As the sound of bullets piercing through flesh came, the heads of the 30 black men on the speedboat exploded at the same time. The heads of the 30 black men on the speedboat exploded at the same time. Blood mixed with brain matter flowed out, and their bodies fell heavily into the sea. What? Gu Yingying and the rest were horrified. Even Gu Junwei watched that with his eyes wide open in disbelief. It was shocking enough that Yi Chen was not afraid of bullets, but he could control bullets too. If there were a few people like Yi Chen in a battle involving tens of thousands of people, it would be a massacre. Whoosh! A bullet was fired at him. Western Overlord Lu extended his arm to block it by instinct. The bullet pierced through his right palm directly and pierced through his chest again. Run, I must run. I can't die here. There's still 1,000 meters left. He can't kill me as long as I enter America's territorial waters. Western Overlord Lu was shocked. He controlled the speedboat while suppressing the pain on his body. He turned the engine to the maximum and drove forward at a high speed. There was a warship parked 1,000 meters away at the moment. There were 13 red flags hanging on the warship. It was a critical moment. He inserted all of the true energy in his body into the speedboat. The speedboat was like an arrow that was released from a bow. It traveled 50 meters away within the blink of an eye. It traveled 500 meters away within the span of a few breaths. Oh no, he's leaving the territorial waters. Gu Junwei's expression changed. At that moment, 2 military helicopters flew over hundreds of meters behind the helicopter. There was a Chinese warship sailing slowly below the helicopters. Western Overlord Lu, there's nowhere for you to go today. You must die. Yi Chen stepped on the waves and moved like the wind on the sea like a cannonball. He caught up with the speedboat when it was less than 50 meters away from America's territorial waters. He subsequently threw a punch at the speedboat. No. Sensing the bone-piercing killing intent coming from behind, Western Overlord Lu had goosebumps all over his body. However, he dared not slow down. 200 meters. No. I can't die. Boom. As Yi Chen's punch landed, the entire speedboat exploded and turned into a ball of fire. On the other hand, Western Overlord Lu leaped onto the surface of the sea right away. He did not stop and rushed toward the military ship with all his might. He shouted as he ran, "Save me, save me!" He didn't know if his cry for help was heard by the warship in the distance. Then, an alarm sounded from the warship, first in English, then in Chinese. "Hua National, you are about to enter our country's territorial waters. Please stop immediately. Please stop immediately. I'm an American citizen. Please save me, Colonel Hill. Someone's trying to kill me." Western Overlord Lu took out a little green book and waved it at the military vessel as he ran. Hearing this, Gu Yingying, who was in the helicopter, could not help but curse. This old thing is so shameless. He secretly became an American citizen. Traitor, you deserve to die. Old Man Gu was filled with righteous indignation. As soon as Western Overlord Lu was done speaking, a man in a Navy uniform walked out of the military ship. He spoke fluent Mandarin. "Sir, since you're our nation's citizen, we have the responsibility to protect you. Please come here immediately." Western Overlord Lu could not help but reveal joy on his face. However, in the next second, the smile on his face froze. Yi Chen had caught up to him. Subsequently, an extremely cold voice came. "Why are you going to America? Hell suits you better." Chapter 159. No! Sensing the killing intent coming from behind him, Western Overlord Lu turned around immediately and threw a punch. He was less than 20 meters away from America's sea, so he was trying to use Yi Chen's strength to get there quickly. However, Yi Chen would not let him do that. He turned his fist into a claw and grabbed Western Overlord Lu's right arm. He then pulled it behind him. Western Overlord Lu's entire body was pulled back. His remaining arm exploded into a cloud of bloody mist. Yi Chen looked at him extremely coldly as mockery appeared at the corner of his lips. "I've told you. Why are you going to America? Hell is more suitable for you. Mad Southern Yi, I'll kill you." Western Overlord Lu was so mad that he spat blood out of his mouth. He had completely lost his mind. He charged at Yi Chen with his body since he did not have his arms. Clearly, he wanted to die together with Yi Chen. "Old thing, you've lived long enough." Yi Chen's expression remained the same. He clenched his fist and covered it with spiritual power. He threw a punch that was extremely domineering. The punch seemed to be able to shatter heaven and earth. Before Western Overlord Lu could get close, he exploded into a bloody mist right away. Meanwhile, the surface of the water that he was standing on earlier sank right away. There was a huge pit that was over 10 meters long that was forcefully smashed. At that moment, the entire sea was in dead silence. The 3 helicopters in the air remained still. The 2 warships on both sides seemed to have been petrified. Shock filled everyone's eyes. He was killed with a punch. He was really killed with a punch. The lieutenant commander on the American warship was enraged when he snapped back to his senses. "How dare you kill our citizen? Who gave you the guts to do that?" Yi Chen glared at him coldly. That glance scared the man so much that he retreated continuously. Eventually, he fell onto the ground. At the same time, on the 3rd floor of the American warship, in a luxurious and majestic room, 2 middle-aged men watched the scene expressionlessly. The 2 middle-aged men watched this scene expressionlessly. One had a full beard, and the other was very handsome. However, his entire body was filled with an incomparably dangerous aura. "Who is he?" the handsome man asked while staring at Yi Chen. The bearded man said immediately, "Senior Colonel Barton, his name is Mad Southern Yi. I heard he's famous in Tian'an in China. He's very powerful." Senior Colonel Barton squinted. "He's comparable to the Rear Admiral Yan Nanfei from 20 years ago." As soon as he said that, the bearded man's face was immediately filled with shock. Yan Nanfei. He was the nemesis of the U.S. Navy, or even their nightmare. This person had been suppressing them for 20 years. Hua Nation is indeed a land of outstanding people. Senior Colonel Barton did not seem to notice his reaction. Instead, he smiled and said, "The Navy has Yan Nanfei, the Army has Han Qinhu, the Air Force has Li Yunxiao, and the Zhongnan High Bodyguard Han Xiaotian, who's also known as Kuang Fu. These 4 people are like 4 pillars that can support the sky. In less than 20 years, this Mad Southern Yi will be comparable to the 4 of them. Unfortunately, this person met me. After I kill this person, China will definitely lose a great general in the future." The bearded man's expression changed. "Senior Colonel, are you going to? No. We can't enter China's waters. He killed a citizen of my country. It's only right for me to act. As for the sea? Yan Nanfei isn't here, who can stop me?" Senior Colonel Barton smiled proudly, opened the window of the room, and jumped out with both feet. Just when Yi Chen was planning to go back, he suddenly saw a silhouette jump out of the warship before him. The person leaped tens of meters and landed on the sea. He stood on the sea. Another martial Dao master. A powerhouse among the Americans. Yi Chen squinted slightly. They were less than 20 meters apart, so they could see each other clearly. Seeing Senior Colonel Barton's appearance, Gu Junwei's expression changed slightly on the helicopter. "Oh no, this person is here. Dad, who is he?" Gu Ingying asked in confusion. Gu Junwei took a deep breath in and said, "This person is Barton, a senior colonel of the U.S. Navy. His ability is unfathomable, and he's said to be invincible in the sea. He was defeated by our China Navy's Rear Admiral, General Yan, 20 years ago. General Yan was only a major back then." As soon as that was said, the old master and Gu Ingying were shocked. They had heard of General Yan before. To be able to be General Yan's opponent, even if he was defeated, his ability was naturally not to be underestimated. "You're Mad Southern Yi?" Senior Colonel Barton took a good look at Yi Chen and subsequently teased, "You've killed our citizens. Come with me. I admit that your ability is great, but I'm warning you not to fight back." He took a step out as soon as he was done speaking. He seemed to be trying to cross the border to capture Yi Chen. Yi Chen said extremely coldly, "I'll kill you today if you dare to step into China's sea. Yan Nanfei isn't here. Who dares to fight me on the sea?" I'll challenge Yen Nanfei after I kill you. Barton smiled in disdain. He took a step out and entered China's sea by force. Bastard! Gu Junwei and the other two were enraged to see that. Do you really think there's no one in China? Gu Ying said by instinct, Dad, is Master Yi his match? It's hard to say. Gu Junwei looked grim. Although Barton had been defeated by Yen Nanfei 20 years ago, there was not much of a difference in their abilities back then. Now that 20 years had passed, his ability must have improved. Since that's the case, use your blood to defend China's dignity. Die. Yi Chen's expression turned cold. He took the lead to attack while stepping on the wave. He threw a punch out in an overbearing manner. Great. I like to fight head-on. Barton smirked and threw a punch as well. His fist was covered in a layer of black energy, tearing the air around it apart. Bang! Their fists collided and a shocking shockwave was set off. The sea around them exploded at the same time, and waves that were over 30 meters tall soared into the sky. Stomp, stomp, stomp. Barton retreated a few steps back from the punch before he managed to stop. There was a hint of seriousness in his eyes when he looked at Yi Chen again. Your ability is great. His fists that were behind his back could not stop shaking. However, I'm afraid that's not enough. I'll let you have a taste of my real technique. He smirked again and grabbed the seawater beneath his feet. A wave broke out of the sea and condensed into a basketball-sized water ball in his hand. Surprise flashed through Yi Chen's eyes. He realized that the water ball did not look big, but it contained true energy that was extremely condensed. If it exploded, it would definitely collapse a building. Its power was comparable to a bomb. The water ball smashed at Yi Chen like a cannonball. It would definitely explode as soon as it touched it. Yi Chen did not panic at all. He slapped the water ball across the air. The water ball was slapped away and flew toward the warship far away. Eventually, it landed on the top floor of the warship. Bang! A loud thud was heard. The flag on the warship was broken. Barton's expression turned completely grim seeing that the flag was destroyed. His face could not stop twitching. Great, you've successfully made me want to kill you. At the same time, in the Chinese warship, countless people stood before the electronic screen, staring at the battle between Yi Chen and Barton without blinking. A middle-aged man with a rough face stood at the front. There were 2 bars and 4 stars on his shoulder. He was a senior colonel. The middle-aged man had his eyes on Yi Chen. Is this young man the mad Southern Yi who defeated Yuan Bupo single-handedly, killed Jiang Bei with a swing of his sword, and killed Eastern Superior Ning with a punch? That's right, Division Commander Liu. That's him. A major behind him nodded in response. Division Commander Liu laughed out loud. Ha ha, he's like General Yen back then. Not bad, not bad. I like him. But General, this man killed Western Overlord Liu. Won't it cause trouble between the 2 countries? The major forced a smile. No. Division Commander Liu scoffed immediately. Their people entered our country's waters first. Reason is on our side. We're not afraid even if we bring this to the UN. But Western Overlord Liu is an American citizen after all. So what if he is? Division Commander Liu glared at him. He committed a crime in our country, so our country's law has the right to sentence him. Didn't he kill tens of people from Dianan's Chao family, Chao Tianba? That's enough to execute him hundreds of times. Why don't we inform General Yen? The senior colonel looked troubled. He was really afraid that both parties would blow things out of proportion. Inform my A*S. Division Commander Liu shook his head angrily and said, It's rare to see such a heroic young man in China. It'll be a waste if we don't give him a chance to showcase himself. As long as this young man with the surname Yi can kill Barton and bring glory to our country, I'll give him my position as a senior colonel. Chapter 160. At the same time, the video of Yi Chen's battle with Barton on the sea was instantly monitored by the 3 armies of China, the land and the air. Everyone looked at the intense battle on the ocean blankly. At the army headquarters. So, this is the Tianen number 1, Mad Southern Yi? Not bad, he's crazy. He dares to stop Barton from entering the country on his own. An old man in military uniform had admiration in his eyes. Our army wants this man. Go to Tianan personally. We must get him to join our army no matter what. If the Navy or the Air Force dares to snatch him from us, just tell them that we'll get Commander Han to beat them up. At the Air Force headquarters. General Yen Nanfei was only 21 years old back then. He defeated Barton in 50 moves. A weak middle-aged man mumbled to himself with a serious expression, "Mad Southern Yi, oh Mad Southern Yi, I wonder if you can continue your legend." On the ocean, Yi Chen and Barton were fighting again. One must admit that Barton's ability was more powerful than the four masters, namely Yuan Bupo, Northern Devil Jiang, Eastern Superior Ning, and Western Overlord Lu. The true energy in his body was different from the martial Dao inheritance in China. It was a little similar to magic power, as if it was another cultivation system. However, it had the same effect as the true energy of ancient martial arts. Most importantly, Barton had a lot of battle experience. He must have fought with other people often, unlike the ancient martial arts world of Hua Nation, which was stagnant and reserved, and rarely got into a fight in decades. However, how could Yi Chen's battle experience be any less than his? Rumble. Huge waves rumbled on the ocean. Barton's hands were like a pair of rattledrums. Every punch he threw would create a sonic boom. He was filled with a violent aura like a ferocious beast in human form. Stupid Chinese. Barton smiled instead of being mad when his attack missed. I'll show you the ultimate technique that I, Barton, created. It's all thanks to the inspiration from your Chinese martial Dao. Judgment Sword. He opened his mouth and spat. A black glow shot out of his mouth. As soon as it appeared, it sliced the ocean into countless whirlpools. This black light had been refined in his dantian for several decades. Day after day, it was like forging iron. Day after day, a piece of fine steel was forged into a steel knife. Even a tiny bit of it was enough to cut through a diamond. It was as easy as cutting tofu. This was not an exaggeration, nor was it a fantasy. It was just like how people in reality train their knees, skulls, or fingers. In the long run, those parts would definitely be beyond imagination. For example, the iron head technique and the iron palm technique. Normal martial artists were already like that, let alone martial Dao masters. I prepared this move for Yen Nanfei. Barton's face was slightly pale, but he still smiled confidently and said, "But seeing that you're pretty strong, I'll kill you first before challenging Yen Nanfei." As soon as he finished speaking, with a swoosh, the black gleam tore through the sky and charged at Yi Chen like a sharp sword. It was so fast that it was impossible to catch it. Barton was extremely confident. The thing that he had spent 20 years refining was indestructible and indestructible. It could even cut through an armored tank directly. Such power was enough to cut Yi Chen into half. It's unfortunate that Yen Nanfei isn't here. Otherwise, it'd be interesting to kill this man before him. Barton looked regretful. He felt like he was killing a chicken with a sledgehammer. However, his expression changed in the next second. He thought Yi Chen would be killed on the spot. However, to his shock, Yi Chen did not move at all. He stood there quietly and watched the black gleam get closer to him. The black gleam tore Yi Chen's clothes, but a ding came when it was about to cut his chest. It was as if it had cut steel. Subsequently, the black gleam shattered. How is that possible? Barton's eyes were wide open, as if he had seen a ghost. He staggered and almost fell into the sea. His attack could cut through an armored tank easily, but it did nothing to Yi Chen's body. Was this Chinese man's body that powerful? Could it be made of diamond? How dare you show off your insignificant skills before me? I'll show you what a sword is. Yi Chen smirked in disdain. A dark green sword appeared in his hand all of a sudden. The sword was 6 meters long and 8 meters wide. It hovered in the air and vibrated lightly. It was the flying sword, the almighty killer sword. Yi Chen held the sword hilt lightly, his expression extremely cold. This sword of mine hasn't killed anyone since it was born. Today, I'll use your blood as a sacrifice to my sword Dao. As soon as he was done speaking, he lifted his arm and slashed. He raised his hand and slashed out with his sword. A sword light that was over 10 meters long swept across the surface of the sea. Countless streams of sword chi burst forth from the Life Emperor sword, completely enveloping the surface of the sea within 300 meters. At that moment the entire sea was sliced into countless pieces by the sword chi. What sword is that? Barton had goosebumps all over his body as if he had seen something terrifying. He retreated immediately. At the same time, he grabbed at the sea with both hands. Countless water walls that were 3 meters thick consolidated before him, covering his entire body. The sword chi whizzed and destroyed the water walls that Barton had gathered before him with ease. Barton's expression changed drastically as he consolidated water walls again, immediately. However, it was useless. The sword chi did not slow down at all. Like a meat grinder, everything was destroyed wherever it passed. Oh no! Barton's scalp went numb when he saw the last water wall being destroyed. He leaped immediately as if he was trying to return to the U.S. warship. In the next second, he shrieked. Just when he leaped into the air, Yi Chen's sword chi severed both of his legs directly. 2 bloody things fell into the sea with Barton. Barton was scared out of his wits. Barton had long been scared out of his wits. He endured the pain and desperately paddled with his hands, as if he wanted to return to the warship to take refuge. Yi Chen stepped on the surface of the sea with the almighty killer sword in his hand. He walked over one step after another. The killing intent on his body grew with each step he took. No, no, no. You can't kill me. I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm a U.S. soldier, a senior colonel of the Navy. Barton revealed a terrified expression when he saw Yi Chen walking toward him. Yi Chen looked down at him in a condescending manner. His expression was extremely cold. I've told you that I'll kill you if you dare to step into China's sea today. Bang! As a loud thud came, the U.S. warship suddenly launched a cannonball. The cannonball flew directly at Yi Chen with a whistling sound. Senior Colonel Barton screamed, "No, no, you deserve to die." Yi Chen leaped immediately and dodged the cannonball. After all, no matter how fast the cannonball was, it was no longer fast as soon as it entered the range of his divine consciousness. He was not afraid of being hurt by the cannonball. He was mainly worried that his hair would be blown bald and his clothes would be torn apart. As a loud thud came, the sea where Barton was exploded directly, stirring huge waves. He was blown into pieces. "You're seeking death." Yi Chen turned his head and squinted at the warship across him. There was a ferocious gleam in his eyes as he raised the almighty killer sword in his hand and swung it. A sword gleam that was more than 10 meters long charged at the surface of the sea at high speed. It was like a shark that had half its body above the surface of the sea and was hunting. On the U.S. warship, a soldier scoffed. "Stupid Chinese. Don't tell me you're trying to cut our warship in half?" "That's right. It seems like this Chinese is scared out of his wits. Our warship can withstand the attack of an armor-piercing missile." Another person gave Yi Chen the middle finger. The mockery was obvious. However, in the next second, all they felt was a violent tremor under their feet. All of them staggered and fell onto the ground. Subsequently, an unforgettable scene appeared before their eyes. On the deck of the warship, a 1-meter-wide crack quickly extended. The crack grew larger and larger, as if a python had been triggered. In the end, the entire warship was split into 2. Smoke billowed, and all sorts of alarms and cries could be heard on the warship. At this moment, the entire place behind Yi Chen was dead silent. On the 3 helicopters and the Chinese warships, the expressions on everyone's faces froze one after another. This, one sword strike to break the warship. Yi Chen stood on the sea like a stone pillar that supported heaven and earth. His extremely cold voice shook the entire sea. Those who offend my country will be killed no matter how far they are. Chapter 161. They looked at the silhouette that stood proudly on the surface of the ocean. Compared to the screams in America's sea, China's sea was dead silent. Everyone's eyes were filled with all sorts of emotions: shock, disbelief, horror, excitement, pride, respect, and so on. Great, great! Old Master Gu slapped his thigh on the helicopter and screamed in excitement. His face was flushed. Earlier, Western Overlord Lu had tried to escape into America's sea. Within the short 2,000 meters, when everyone had given up and dared not move forward, Yi Chen chased after him for 1,000 meters. In the end, Yi Chen chased after him for 1,000 meters and killed Western Overlord Lu with one punch when he was less than 20 meters away from America's sea area. He regained China's dignity. The senior colonel of the U.S. Navy seized the opportunity to invade China's sea to kill him. However, he was terrified by Yi Chen's sword. In the end, the U.S. warship attacked. Just when the Chinese warship was going to be on alert, Yi Chen slashed the U.S. warship into half right in front of everyone. Nothing was more exciting than that. Gu Junwei felt the same. He took a good look at Yi Chen, who was above the ocean. There was only respect and admiration left in his eyes. I, Gu Junwei, have only admired Commander Han my entire life. From now on, there's one more. Master Yi, I've underestimated you. Gu Yingying looked at Yi Chen in a daze. Apart from killing 3 masters in a day, he had also killed national pirates in his country's territory. He had even stopped the pirates from entering his country's sea on his own. She clenched her teeth as excitement filled her beautiful eyes. From now on, Mad Southern Ye's name will resound like thunder. Nobody can stop him anymore. One could imagine that the country would definitely go crazy once Yi Chen's battle achievements spread to the country. Not only the martial Dao world, but even the civilians would be the same. On the Chinese Navy warship, Division Commander Lu suppressed the shock within him. He took a deep breath in and shouted, "Everyone, stand at attention. Get ready. Take off your hats." At the Army headquarters, the old man in military uniform said, "Take off your hats." At the Air Force headquarters, the weak middle-aged man said, "Take off your hats." Whoosh. At that moment, all of the officers from the Navy, Army, and Air Forces took off their hats at the same time. Salute to the heroes of China. Everyone gave a standard military salute to Yi Chen, who was on the screen. Their movements were synchronized. In reality, many people in the sea, land, and air forces did not know Yi Chen. They had never even met before. However, they were closely connected at that moment. Their faces were flushed, their breathing was heavy, their fists were clenched, and their veins were bulging. This was the sense of national honor. This was national righteousness. That's right, those who offend my country will be punished no matter how far away you are. Yanjin Military HQ. Ha ha, what a great way to offend my country, I'll kill you no matter how far you are. The old man in the traditional Chinese robe burst into laughter. Then, with the brush in his hand, he wrote a huge kill character on the paper. As the brush fell, the sharpness was revealed. The old man turned his head and ordered the lady behind him, "Get Qin Yao to make a trip. We want the young man with the surname Yi. The position of the Firearms Division's chief instructor belongs to him. If the sea, land, or air force dares to fight with us, we'll beat them until they cry." The lady nodded and walked out with a strange expression on her face. The old man sighed and picked up his phone to make a call. "The American warship has been chopped. I'm afraid the enemy's powerhouses won't be able to take it anymore. Inform Commander Han, Commander Li, and General Yen now. Get the 3 of them to fly above China's sea directly. Tell them to defend every inch of land. Yi Chen took one last look at the warship that he had chopped. He shook his head and put the almighty killer sword away into his storage ring. He was going to return by stepping on the wave. He ignored Old Master Gu and the rest on the helicopter. At that moment, a speedboat drove out of the Chinese warship. 2 people drove the speedboat to his side. It was a man and a lady. They were both wearing Navy uniforms. The lady who was leading the way had a delicate face and a capable aura. "Mr. Yi, our Commander Lu would like to see you," the lady said while blushing after taking a good look at him. Yi Chen frowned and glanced at the warship. He said, "Commander Lu? I don't know him. Why is he inviting me?" "Mr. Yi, please don't misunderstand. Our Commander Lu would like to meet a hero like you. It won't take too much of your time. Moreover, we can send you back to the shore," the lady explained immediately. Yi Chen nodded after a moment of hesitation and stepped onto the warship with them. A middle-aged man with a rough appearance walked over and said while laughing, "Welcome, Mr. Yi." Yi Chen looked at the 2 bars and 4 stars on his shoulder. He was a senior colonel. Surprise flashed through his eyes. "Mr. Yi, my name is Lu Dinghua. I'm currently the senior colonel of the Navy's 3rd Army. Don't mind my identity. We'll just call each other brothers." Clearly, Lu Dinghua was familiar with them. He led Yi Chen into a lounge as he introduced himself. Someone brought 2 cups of tea over immediately. "Brother Yi, I'd like to apologize to you first." Lu Dinghua looked at him while holding the cup of tea. "We chose to keep quiet about what happened to Barton earlier. We didn't do anything because we have our reasons. I hope you can understand. To show my sincerity, I'll replace wine with tea." He finished the cup of hot tea in one gulp as soon as he was done speaking. Yi Chen took a sip and said while smiling calmly, "Don't worry about it. That was how he was. If you respect him, he would respect you back." Lu Dinghua was a straightforward person, and he did not like to beat around the bush. It was easier to talk to such a person. "It seems like Brother Yi is a straightforward person." Lu Dinghua was getting more and more passionate. He said while smiling, "But then again, Brother Yi, the battle on the sea earlier really opened my eyes. You've made China proud. Apart from General Yen, you're the 2nd person that I admire." Yi Chen smiled lightly. Lu Dinghua passed him a cigarette and coughed. He could not help but ask, "Brother Yi, I wonder if you're thinking of joining the army?" How could Yi Chen not know what he was implying? Just when he was going to speak, a series of hurried footsteps came from outside. Subsequently, a man in army uniform strode in. There were also 2 bars and 4 stars on his shoulder. Lu Dinghua said angrily as soon as he saw him, "Hey Yuan, what are you doing here instead of running around in the mountains with your troops? Let me tell you, don't even think about getting my box of Biluakun. It's long gone." "Haha, old Lu, look at how stingy you are. I'm embarrassed for you. It's just that I drank 50 grams of Biluakun from you during our gathering." Chapter 162. The man walked to Yi Chen directly after speaking. He extended his hand and said while smiling, "I'm sure you've guessed who I am, Mr. Yi. I'm Yuan Fei from the Lu army." Yi Chen shook his hand and said calmly, "Mr. Yuan, did you say that you're here for me?" "Scram Yuan. I'll get someone to bring you a can of Biluakun." Guang Yuan, who was standing aside, had a change of expression. How could he not know that Yuan Fei was here to poach Yi Chen? This damn Yuan De is really despicable. Lu Guangyuan interrupted him immediately and did not hide anything anymore. "How is the Lu army as good as the Navy? They're wandering around the mountains every day." "They're so dull," Yuan Fei retorted. "Lu, isn't your sister in the Navy? Why are you so arrogant? Moreover, aren't the Navy wandering in the sea every day? Yuan, are you looking for a fight?" Lu Guangyuan glared at him. Yuan Fei rolled up his sleeves and said, "Come on, let's fight one-on-one now. Don't just talk." At that moment, a calm voice came from outside the door, "Stop fighting. Mr. Yi is from the Air Force. A lady in a white uniform walked in as soon as the voice was heard. A woman in a white uniform walked in. She was about 30 years old and was extremely tall. Her facial features were exquisite, and she wore a pair of white gloves. Yuan Fei and Lu Guangyuan were silenced. The lady did not care about the duo's expression. She walked to Yi Chen on her own and smiled. Mr. Yi, come to the Air Force. I'll make you equal to Yuan Fei immediately. Also, I'll give you 10 million yuan as a settlement fee. Yuan Fei's face turned green as soon as he heard that. Yuan Fei's face turned green when he heard that. Do you have to slap me in the face like that? What do you mean by being on equal footing with me immediately? Seeing that she was a lady, Lu Guangyuan coughed dryly and said, 10 million yuan as a settlement fee? Lin Xian, aren't you guys being too cruel? Lin Xian glanced at him coldly and smiled lightly. I can do whatever I want because I'm rich. Yuan Fei was speechless. Lu Guangyuan was speechless. It was useless no matter how angry they were. The country had been developing the Air Force and Navy all these years. One could say that they had invested a lot of resources. That was why taxi drivers were not as classy as airplane drivers. That was why there were flight attendants like Ling Zhiling on planes, while there were only ants in their 40s or 50s selling tickets on buses. Mr. Yi, what do you think? You can mention it if you're not satisfied, Lin Xian said with a smile again when she saw Yi Chen remain silent. She had seen Yi Chen's battle at sea. As the saying went, beauties loved heroes. Of course, the word love referred to admiration. At that moment, Yuan Fei and Lu Guangyuan looked at Yi Chen at the same time. Although they knew that their offer was not as good as Lin Xian's, they still felt lucky. What if Yi Chen was blind? Yi Chen did not know whether to laugh or to cry when he met the trio's gaze. The three of them had been arguing for so long, but they finally knew to ask for his opinion. He was about to speak. Bang! With a loud bang, the closed door was kicked open by someone from the outside. Lu Guangyuan was about to explode. The next moment, a young woman dressed in black walked in. She looked to be about 24 or 25 years old and was about 1.75 meters tall. Her facial features were very exquisite, with a tall nose and thin lips. However, her gaze was a little cold as she glanced at Yuan Fei and the other two coldly. You guys can go back. Mad Southern Yi is one of us now. Who are you? Lu Guangyuan was almost pissed to death. Do you have to be so arrogant? You kicked the door open, and the first thing you said when you came in was not an apology. Instead, you asked us to give up on Mad Southern Yi. Who do you think you are? What do you think this place is? Yi Chen, on the other hand, took a good look at her. She did not seem old, but she was an ancient martial artist. On top of that, her cultivation base was on illuminating pulse. With that ability, she would be a powerhouse even among the younger generation in China. In terms of looks alone, she was one of the few beauties Yi Chen had ever seen. The lady said nothing. She took out an ID and tossed it to Lu Guangyuan directly. With this, Lu Guangyuan's expression changed when he picked it up and looked at it. Yuan Fei and Lin Xian, who were standing aside, looked at it. Their expressions were not any better. There were 3 big words written on it. Firearms Battalion. So, you're from there. Sorry for not recognizing you. Yuan Fei coughed dryly. His military rank was not low, but now he was complimenting a woman. After that, he even secretly nudged Lu Guangyuan with his elbow. Lu Guangyuan also squeezed out a smile that was uglier than a crying face. Yi Chen saw the words Firearms Battalion with his divine consciousness. However, he had no idea what it meant to make Yuan Fei and the rest lose their composure. The lady's expression remained the same. Is this enough? If not, let's go out and train. The 3 of you can fight me at the same time. I'll only use one hand. These words were not just an ordinary kind of arrogance. Regular people might not be able to hold it in, but Yuan Fei and Lu Guangyuan dared not say anything. They could not stop nodding. Yes, yes. What a joke. They were from the Firearms Battalion. What was the Firearms Battalion? It was an existence that was on par with the Wolf Warrior Squad and the Thunderbolt Special Forces Squad. All of them were talented, but they were rude. The lady's eyes turned slightly cold. Since it's enough, get out now. Go quickly, old Lu. Yuan Fei dragged Lu Guangyuan, who looked reluctant to leave, out forcefully. Lin Xian turned her head and smiled sweetly at Yi Chen. Mr. Yi, you can really consider joining the Air Force. There are many young ladies in the Air Force. Within the blink of an eye, the three of them had left. Only Yi Chen and the lady in black were left in the house. Yi Chen was speechless. The lady then looked at Yi Chen and said expressionlessly, "My name is Qin Yao. Hit me now, right now." "What did you say?" Yi Chen was stunned. He could not react in time. "Hit you? Did I hear it wrong, or are you crazy?" Qin Yao's face turned cold and she said again, "I'll say it one last time. Hit me, now, right now." Yi Chen was amused by her. He said in all seriousness, "Firstly, I don't want to hit a woman. Secondly, I don't have time to play with you. I'm sorry that I can't. Goodbye." After saying this, he lifted his foot and was about to leave. Qin Yao scoffed the moment he turned around. She stepped on the dining table and crushed it directly. With the help of the force, her body flew toward Yi Chen like a kite. Meanwhile, her slender legs quickly sprang out, and the narrow space was filled with the shadows of her legs. The moment Qin Yao made her move, Yi Chen could not help but frown when he sensed it. This woman must be born in the year of the tiger. She would fight without saying anything, seeing that she didn't have any killing intent. Yi Chen tilted his body slightly, and Qin Yao's left leg brushed past his chest. Yi Chen stretched his arm out and grabbed her ankle. P.S. Chapter 3. End of chapter. Chapter 163. The moment Qin Yao made her move, Yi Chen sensed it and could not help but frown. This woman must be born in the year of the tiger, right? She would fight just because of a disagreement, seeing that she didn't have any killing intent. Yi Chen tilted his body slightly, and Qin Yao's left leg brushed past his chest. Yi Chen stretched his arm out and grabbed her ankle. Then, he gently pushed upwards. Although he did not use much strength, Qin Yao sensed a massive force. Her pretty face changed slightly as she used all of the strength in her body to press her leg down. She seemed to be trying to push Yi Chen down. However, the next moment, her left leg was placed on Yi Chen's shoulder directly. Her round and slender thigh was completely exposed to Yi Chen's sight. Before Yi Chen could react, she lifted her right leg and kicked him again. Yi Chen grabbed her right leg with his other hand and took a step forward. Hence, Yi Chen grabbed both of Qin Yao's legs. Her legs were arranged in a straight line. Since Qin Yao was wearing a short skirt, she was completely exposed in that position. The bottom of her skirt revealed a pair of panties with a panda pattern. At that moment, the expressions on their faces suddenly froze. Qin Yao's body stiffened, and a wisp of embarrassment and anger appeared on her icy cold face. Shameless! Meanwhile, in the warship's equipment room, Yuan Fei, Lu Dinghua, Lin Xian, and the rest stared blankly at the computer screen before them. It was the battle between Yi Chen and Qin Yao. After seeing the ambiguous posture of the two, the three of them were dumbfounded. They suddenly felt a little confused. What was going on? Weren't they here to poach people? How did it become flirting? Awesome! Yuan Fei sighed softly and gave Yi Chen a thumbs up on the screen. It was really awesome. One must know that she was a domineering flower, the domineering flower of the Special Forces. However, Yi Chen dared to take advantage of her. How could he not be amazing? Lu Dinghua, on the other hand, chuckled. He deserves it. This tyrant flower has been looking down on the three of us ever since he entered the door. Now, he's finally suffered a loss in the hands of Brother Yi. As the saying goes, evil people need to be tortured by evil people. None of you men are good. Lin Xian chuckled and looked at the two animals beside her with some disdain. She turned around and walked out of the monitoring room. As she walked, she said, "They are all big pig trotters." The corner of Yi Chen's lips twitched slightly when he saw Qin Yao's raging stare. He let go of his hand by instinct. The three people outside had wronged him. With that, Qin Yao's legs were freed. She threw a punch at Yi Chen in embarrassment and rage as soon as she landed. She dared not use her legs this time, mainly because she was afraid that this pervert would take advantage of her again. Again. Yi Chen's expression turned grim. The last bit of patience he had for women was completely gone. He waved his sleeve directly, and Qin Yao's body flew out. She only managed to stand still after staggering a few steps back. When she looked again, Yi Chen had already walked to the door. She could not help but shout angrily, "You're not allowed to leave. If you're a man, come down and fight me for real. Moreover, you can run today, but you won't be able to run tomorrow." As soon as she said that, Yuan Fei and Lu Dinghua, who were in the monitoring room, almost spat a mouthful of blood. "Sister, don't be so rude. We'll misunderstand. You can run today, but you won't be able to run tomorrow?" Yi Chen stopped walking and turned around to look at her. He frowned. "Sure, I'll satisfy you. Do it." He walked toward Qin Yao one step after another. The aura on his body grew with each step he took. It was a sign that he was enraged. Qin Yao's pretty face suddenly changed. Under this aura, she actually found that she was a little out of breath. Most importantly, as Yi Chen approached her, a unique, rich, and overbearing male aura came from his body. This made her a little flustered for no reason. "Kill!" She clenched her teeth immediately and slapped Yi Chen with all the strength in her body. She swore that she would beat Yi Chen into a pig's head to take revenge for him molesting her earlier. Slap! Suddenly, a huge hand slapped her in the face. Her whole body flew out and smashed heavily against the wall. Qin Yao looked at Yi Chen in disbelief, while holding her face that was hurting. She was from the Special Forces. No matter if it was her skill or her appearance, she was one of the best in the entire Special Forces. However, she was thrown out with a single slap. Yi Chen looked at her coldly. "Was it fun? Do you want to do it again?" The phrase, "don't hit women," was usually said by men who walked on three legs. These people were either brainless or hypocritical. How could one not fight back when a woman was chasing after one with a knife? Should one just stand there and let her stab one to death? Clearly, Yi Chen was not one of them. Although he did not want to hit women, it did not mean that he would not hit women. Apart from his mother and his child's mother, he would attack without hesitation if any other woman challenged his bottom line. Taking pity on women was **t. Qin Yao's face turned pale after sensing Yi Chen's killing intent. She stood up from the ground while biting her lip. She took out a little notebook and tossed it at Yi Chen directly. She then left angrily. "Take your stuff away," Yi Chen reminded her. Qin Yao glared at him coldly. After a moment of hesitation, she picked up the notebook and left without looking back. As soon as she left, Yuan Fei and Lu Dinghua walked in immediately. Clearly, they knew about the mess in the room. However, Lu Dinghua pretended that he did not know anything. He asked, "Brother Yi, did you reject her invitation?" Yi Chen nodded calmly. He knew about Qin Yao's background very well. "Mr. Yi, why don't you join the army? You'll get the same benefits as before," Yuan Fei requested again. Yi Chen shook his head and said while smiling, "Thank you for your kindness, but I'm not interested in joining the army. Moreover, I'm a father. I need to take care of my child." He walked out of the room after saying that without waiting for the duo to reply. He leaped into the sea directly and walked to the shore while stepping on the wave. Lu Dinghua sighed on the deck as he watched him leave. His heart ached for missing out on a talent like Yi Chen. To each his own. Let him be. Yuan Fei, who was standing aside, was more optimistic. Subsequently, he seemed to have recalled something and said while smiling, "Old Lu, it's rare for me to come here. You must give me 100 grams of your biluacun. Get lost. On a helicopter flying to Tianan, Qin Yao made a call. She said while feeling wronged, "Brother, your sister has been beaten up. Do as you see fit." After saying this, she hung up the phone. At the Beijing military headquarters. Yao Yao has been beaten up? It seems like this girl has been beaten up badly. Otherwise, she wouldn't be complaining to me. A young man in a suit looked speechless after hanging up the phone. He looked at the old man in traditional attire before him and scratched his head after speaking. "Chief, I must help Yao Yao get back at her. I'll beat that guy up. Don't worry, I definitely won't kill him." Chapter 164. Half an hour later. Yi Chen left the ocean and saw many people gathered by the shore. Most of them were the ones who had watched the battle on the Jade Dragon Snow Mountain. A few familiar figures stood at the forefront. It was Xiaoya, Su Yuwei, Yao Yu, and the others. Xiaoya was holding Meng Meng in her arms. "He's back!" someone shouted, causing everyone to have their eyes on Yi Chen. Everyone had a complicated expression on their faces. Mad Southern Yi was going after Western Overlord Lu. Now that he had returned but did not see Western Overlord Lu, there was only one conclusion. Western Overlord Lu was dead. The little girl struggled out of Xiao Ya's embrace and could not stop waving at Yi Chen. She was excited. "Daddy!" Yi Chen leaped to the shore. The little girl ran into his embrace immediately and hugged his neck in a clingy manner. "Daddy, where have you been? Meng Meng thought you didn't want me anymore." "Daddy went to chase the bad guys." Yi Chen touched her face and was relieved after confirming that she was fine. He lifted his eyes to glance at the crowd before him and had his eyes on Xiaoya. He said while smiling, "Thank you for taking care of me, Meng Meng. It's my duty to take care of junior sister." Xiaoya looked at the little fellow lovingly. It seemed that the two of them had gotten along well on the way back. "Little junior sister?" Yi Chen was slightly stunned, then he laughed out loud. His precious daughter was going to inherit his mantle in the future. She was more like a disciple than a disciple, and it was reasonable for Xiaoya, the second senior sister, to call her little junior sister. "Daddy," along the way, Auntie Xiao kept calling me junior sister. "What does junior sister mean?" The little guy blinked his eyes curiously. Yi Chen said softly, "It's what you mean. But Auntie Xiao is much older than me. She can even be Meng Meng's mother." The little fellow still did not understand. Xiaoya blushed when she called her mother. After Su Yuwei noticed Xiaoya's strange behavior and connected it with what the little fellow had unintentionally said, she snorted inwardly. This further confirmed her guess. This adulterous couple is indeed in love. Seeing the father and daughter talking as if they did not see the people around them, someone could not help but ask, "Master Yi, may I know where's Western Overlord Lu?" As soon as he said that, everyone pricked up their ears. "Dead," Yi Chen said coldly without any expression on his face, as if he was talking about something that was normal. What? The crowd burst into an uproar. When Yi Chen was hunting Western Overlord Lu on the Jade Dragon Snow Mountain, everyone had gone through a lot to catch up to him. They wanted to know the final outcome. Although he was mentally prepared, he was still shocked when he heard it for real. He was really dead. Even Su Yuwei's pretty face couldn't help changing. "Come, let's go home." Yi Chen carried his daughter and walked out of the crowd. In reality, he did not care about what they thought at all. Xiaoya hesitated for a while and followed them. Meanwhile, a black Mercedes-Benz stopped by the roadside quietly. Lin Tai got out of the car and jogged to Yi Chen. He said while suppressing his excitement, "My lord, let me send you back." Lin Tai was just too excited. In reality, he did not have high hopes for Yi Chen to fight the three masters in the beginning. However, unlike the Tianan wealthy families, he did not choose to betray Yi Chen. In the end, it proved that Lin Tai had made the right bet. Yi Chen had killed three masters consecutively and chased after Western Overlord Lu for thousands of miles. His techniques were indeed shocking. Yi Chen nodded and got Xiaoye into the car. Just when Lin Tai was going to close the door, a beautiful silhouette entered the car as well. I want to sit too. Su Yuwei sat next to Xiaoye. Xiaoye frowned slightly. She didn't know if it was an illusion, but she always felt that this woman surnamed Su had always been hostile to her. Lin Tai glanced at Yi Chen by instinct. He only started the car after noticing that Yi Chen was secretly nodding. Along the way, perhaps because of Su Yuwei's presence, the atmosphere in the car was somewhat silent. Eventually, Su Yuwei glanced at Yi Chen and could not help but ask, "Should I call you Yi Chen or Mad Southern Yi?" "Whatever," Yi Chen said without even turning his head. Hearing this, Su Yuwei could not help but feel angry. She even had the urge to kill someone now. Yi Chen was a piece of trash to her. If not for her sister, she would not even want to look at him. However, since the battle at the Snow Mountain, she realized that Yi Chen was actually Mad Southern Yi. The scene where Yi Chen fought 3 masters on his own and killed them consecutively shocked her. She could not accept it. Most importantly, she had secretly compared Yi Chen and Mad Southern Yi before this. She thought one was a worm while the other was a dragon. There was no comparison between them. Reality gave her a hard slap in the face, making her ashamed, angry, and even angry. She scoffed as she thought to this point and said with a grim face, "Since you're so powerful, why didn't you tell me earlier?" "Why should I tell you?" Yi Chen said coldly. "You," Su Yuwei glared at him angrily. She kicked the car door while puffing her cheeks. "Stop the car. I want to get out." At the same time, the result of the battle at the Snow Mountain that the entire martial Dao world in China paid attention to spread across China like a storm. The entire martial Dao world in China was stirred. With the advancement of technology and the development of the Internet, even ancient martial artists had to surf the Internet. In a 5-star encrypted forum that was specially for the martial Dao world in China to communicate, the topic was all about Yi Chen at the moment. Breaking news, breaking news. Mad Southern Yi killed Northern Devil Jiang with a swing of his sword on the Jade Dragon Snow Mountain. He killed Eastern Superior Ning with a punch and forced Western Overlord Lu to flee for thousands of miles. From now on, Eastern Superior, Western Overlord, and Northern Devil no longer exist. Only Mad Southern and Zhongwen's sword are left. In less than half an hour after the post was posted, the number of replies and followers exceeded 100,000. Everyone was shocked. Some people did not believe it and replied immediately, "Is that true? Mad Southern Yi fought 3 of them on his own. Forget that he didn't lose. He even killed the 3 masters instead? Tell me, how much did Mad Southern Yi pay you? How can you joke about something like that? Although I know many people don't believe it, I just want to prove that it's true because I was on the Jade Dragon Snow Mountain at the time." Someone confirmed immediately. In reality, Mad Southern Yi didn't just kill the 3 masters. There was also Master Jingguang from Wutai Mountain. He died the worst. Does that mean Mad Southern Yi killed 4 masters? Damn, that's amazing. Can he not be so insane? Brother, let's talk on the phone. I don't have a video. Who would dare to take a video of the battle? Moreover, the Snow Mountain is cold and there's no signal. Someone was regretful. What a pity. Otherwise, we could have witnessed Mad Southern Yi's glory. We'd like to see if he really has 3 heads and 6 arms. Countless people posted crying emojis. A sock puppet with the nickname Ancient Martial Artist by Shaoxing revealed another piece of shocking news. Hehe, I'm afraid you guys have no idea that Mad Southern Yi actually killed 5 martial Dao masters within a day. Chapter 165. Someone said regretfully, "What a pity. Otherwise, we'd be able to witness Mad Southern Yi's glory and see if he really has 3 heads and 6 arms." Countless people posted crying emojis. A sock puppet called Ancient Martial Artist by Shaoxing revealed another shocking news. Hehe, I'm afraid you guys don't know that Mad Southern Yi actually killed 5 martial Dao masters in a day. Ancient martial artist by Xiaoxing's revelation made everyone dizzy. They thought they had seen it wrong. 5? Wasn't it 4? Why is there one more? Brother by Xiaoxing, tell us about it. Someone exclaimed. Countless people were curious too. In reality, Ancient martial artist by Xiaoxing was very mysterious in the ancient martial arts forum. He was powerful, so he knew things that people did not know. He was just like the paparazzi who would expose celebrities for cheating. However, he was slightly better. The things that he exposed were proven to be true. There was nothing fake about it. Therefore, people believed him more as time went by. Ancient martial artist by Xiaoxing replied upon realizing that he had whetted everyone's appetite. Let's not talk about Yuan Bupo. Apart from Northern Devil Jiang, Western Overlord Lu, Eastern Superior Ning, and Venerable Master Jingguang, Yi Chen killed another pirate. His name is Barton. He's one of Pirate Prince Rowan's generals. He's also a martial Dao master. He punched a hole through a ship 20 years ago. Back then, Western Overlord Lu was being hunted by Mad Southern Yi. He wanted to escape overseas, so he contacted Barton and the rest to get him. However, Mad Southern Yi killed him. Barton entered our country's sea territory to attack Mad Southern Yi. However, he was killed by Mad Southern Yi in the end. Laker was scared out of his wits and fled. Fish. Everyone inhaled sharply. They were shocked and enraged. Barton is just too arrogant. He's provoking us. Fortunately, he paid the price. Great kill. How dare a pirate come to China so brazenly? Didn't this man lose to General Yen 20 years ago? At that moment someone asked, General Yen? The General Yen who is on par with Han Qinhu and Li Yunxiao? Yes, that's him. General Yen used 50 moves to defeat Barton 20 years ago. In the end, Mad Southern Yi used less than 5 moves to kill him. Ancient martial artist by Xiaoxing replied. Ha ha ha, good death, good death. Being killed by your own people, this is really retribution. This is the consequence of provoking China. Those who offend my country will be killed no matter how far they are. After a short silence, the entire post was flooded with countless 666 comments. Everyone's eyes were red. Those who offend my country will be killed no matter how far they are. Before this, I thought that Mad Southern Yi was a fierce man who only cared about personal grudges, but I didn't expect him to understand the righteousness of the nation. Just based on this, he deserves the title of master. Oh my! How can there be brave warriors who guard the 4 corners of the world? Great chivalrous people serve the country and the people. This is the original intention of our cultivation. At that moment, Yi Chen's reputation was one-sided. Some of the people who had opinions about him became his fans and then his fans. Some people who saw things from afar asked worriedly, "Oh yeah, Mad Southern Yi killed Barton with 1 strike. Will Pirate Prince Rowan be angry and come over to take him away?" After he reminded them, the others came back to their senses. However, at that moment Ancient Martial Artist by Xiaoxing was gone. By Xiaoxing, F*CKU. You left us hanging. You can't do that. Don't ask. Everyone knows his temper. I think his wife asked him to do public service. Maybe he was invited for tea. Someone could not help but laugh out loud. Inside a pitch-black internet cafe, an old farmer was grinning as he looked at the various questions on the forum. He closed the page with a click. Sigh, if I were 10 years younger, I'd like to join in the fight too. I'm old. The old farmer started smoking. At that moment, his phone rang. 5 million yuan has been transferred to your account. As soon as the call was picked up, a woman's roar came from the other end. Goddamn old cow, did you steal the red doo-doo that I hung outside my house last night? Cough, cough, cough. The old farmer coughed and denied immediately. No, it's definitely not me. Suehor, think about it. Am I that kind of person? Get lost. I'll be damned if I believe you. You old man, you're so evil. Return it to me now. Remember to wash it clean. While the entire Chinese martial Dao world was in an uproar, someone could not help but exclaim, "Is this mad Southern Yi the reincarnation of the god of killing? He kills wherever he goes. The original Eastern Superior, Western Overlord, Southern Killer, and Northern Devil all died in his hands. Now only Unquestionable Jian is left. Do you guys think mad Southern Yi will kill Unquestionable Jian as well?" Someone asked. "I don't think so. The sword god of China, Unquestionable Jian, doesn't show up all year round. He shouldn't have any grudge with mad Southern Yi." Someone shook his head and said, "Moreover, don't forget that the unparalleled sword challenged Unquestionable Jian 2 months ago. There's less than a month left before their battle. What's going on in China these few years? There are so many talents. Apart from the god of killing, mad Southern Yi, there's also the unparalleled sword. Personally, I feel that this unparalleled sword is even more of a genius than mad Southern Yi. He's only 18 years old, but he defeated all the powerhouses consecutively. He even challenged Unquestionable Jian. No matter what, it's a good thing that there are so many talents in China. Anyway, I'm looking forward to the battle between the unparalleled sword and Unquestionable Jian. Is the little sword saint more powerful or the sword god more powerful?" Yi Chen stayed at home for the next few days. Compared to the uproar in the outside world, he seemed relatively calm. He asked Lin Tai to ask about the news in Beijing while he stayed at home with his daughter. He disappeared from the public sight for a few days, which made the outside world feel lost. At the Nine Dragons Bay Villa. "I've finally broken through to peak stage Spirit Assembly." After a night of hard cultivation, joy flashed through Yi Chen's eyes as he sensed his cultivation base carefully. The peak of the Spirit Assembly state was only one step away from the foundation building state. At that time, he would be able to use even more technique. He was even more confident that no one on earth would be able to threaten him. He got up and walked to the window. He lifted the curtain and looked in the direction of Yang City. "It's almost 3 months. Yuhan, I think it's time for me to bring our daughter to you. I guarantee that nobody will be able to stop our family from reuniting this time. Many people have died in my hand. I don't mind more dying. However, there are 2 things that I need to do before I go to Yang City. P.S. Chapter 2. End of this chapter.